Live tonight on American Zombie. Here we are on the radio together again. Thanks to Tom Likas for that saying, and Jake the Snake Jake Truth Snake for reminding me about it. Got the link pinned to the top of the chat. The topic is how to wake up from the Matrix pod. That's the thing. How do we wake up from this? Right? We all seen the epic moment where Neo, he wakes up and he realizes that he is in the Matrix, that he's staring at other people sleeping in a pod that actually is providing the fantasy world that he thought was real. And that scene, I mean, with the even the sound effects, with like that kind of angelic, scary kind of sound when he woke up. He woke up and he looks around, and that was at the time when, again, he took the pill, that the choice to see how far the rabbit hole goes. And when he manages to shake and bust out of the pod, he looks over and he sees what we see in the scene. We see him looking and seeing all of these pods and saying, basically it's a creepy, man. When you look at it, it's really creepy. You look the towers of people that are in these pods. Basically, they've done artwork like this is the pod from the side view, but then looking at it from the top, the person in that pod, man, it gets you to thinking like the Matrix movie was really, really a deep movie, because you can look at it in so many different ways. You can look at it like maybe it's something mental, like we can be in a mental pod. Mr. X, good to see you, brother. Hope so, man. I hope it's a good one. Baby Bronson, cheers, bro. Yeah. So the pod. How do we wake up from the pod? How are we inside of a pod? So that's the other one. But is this you? Is this you? I think we can wake up, like every time we wake up to, like, we break an illusion we thought was true, we wake up from another pod that we were in. So it's like pods inside of pods, and we're just in there having these dreams thinking it's reality. This is where Fantasy Island is created, and there's massive amounts of people. This is Fantasy Island. This is Fantasy Island with something using us, as like the Matrix says, as a battery. As a battery from birth. That's the crazy thing. When it had the humans being born in these sacks, it's just like the amniotic sac. It's like these things were literally farming us. And now when we go a little deeper and look into society and try to compare it to what's going on, we say, wow, is it giving us a glimpse into what humanity might actually be? That maybe, we were created in some sort of way. I mean, the Matrix does mean a protective area, like a womb. So the definition of it, when you think about it, and the pods, human batteries, man, synthetically grown humans, and they're kept there to juice. And the funny thing is the Matrix connection to the Matrix world, the mental world, and how it will produce energy and keep the organism in that sort of placenta-like state to provide the energy. But as long as the mind is getting fed a certain illusion. And then once that person starts to break out of the illusion, then we start to see a difference. We start to see like, they must be flushed, or the Matrix must cleanse from that. And there was somebody, I think Alexis or somebody had mentioned about the error code, where some don't take to the program. Some can see through. Maybe they have a different type of awareness and ability to be aware. But the pod system it's hardwiring humans into a system through the multiple cables, kind of like how you have the hardwire to the Ethernet, or you can have the Wi-Fi that does it wireless. Could it be that the matrix has advanced to where you don't need to be plugged in, hardwired? That you can be in the pod, you can be in the wireless pod. Red Blur, good to see you. He says, regarding the Matrix, The Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars is a good book. I have heard of that book. I didn't get a time to really look into it. But I think I might have looked through some of it, like Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. I don't know if that's dealing with the radioactive, the radio wave stuff. If you have any more info, but I will look into it. Maybe there's some good stuff on YouTube about it to abbreviate it. It's been a lot of editing lately. I figured I might do stuff, a little later tonight. It depends on how long the stream goes. I don't know, maybe an hour, 2 hours, depending. I'll see what's up if anybody hops on. If not, I'll just do the commentary that I have with this Matrix pod. Are we in the Matrix pod? How to escape? How to wake up from the Matrix pod? And a lot of us feel like we have kind of broken out of an illusion. They say losing an illusion is smarter than gaining a truth. It actually gives you more. You benefit more when you lose an illusion. And that should be contemplated on for people to say, yeah, the things that I've learned throughout life, did that help me as much? It's not saying that it didn't help. It's saying that was it more beneficial to lose certain illusions to go forward? And it really points toward that. Losing illusions, realizing, I just saw Jake backstage. He hopped off again. Maybe I was on the other window. So it says stuff like the connection, being hardwired, the head jack transmit and receives the neural data. The environment, each pod is filled with a pink viscous fluid that provides nutrients. So, and think it keeps, this is the crazy thing. If anybody looks up the Matrix pod stuff, it keeps the body in a state of atrophy. So I remember in the military, the big thing was being in shape all the time, because the body, it matters, man. You stay in shape, you act differently, you're more motivated. Calix says survival based around a piece of paper is insane. Yeah, man, that is a deep saying. You're absolutely true, man. Based on a piece of paper, man. CD, what's up?
Man, you know what else can atrophy when you're in the pod in the Matrix, MD?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the other thing that can atrophy is, a couple other things that can atrophy is, one, your critical thinking skills. Critical thinking is like almost outlawed at this point. Even when the whole Conan thing was going around, they said, don't do your own research. It was the doctor, when his last name starts with an F. And sometimes, like when you fall and skin your knee, you get an ouchie. Man, that guy even said, don't do your own research. Doing your own research can be dangerous. But I couldn't believe they actually said that on national TV. So critical thinking can atrophy when you're in a pod in the Matrix. And then another thing that can atrophy is a stream that you had last time, where your maturity level can atrophy, because you just, man, right when you think you're standing in a room full of people who are awake and they're not a zombie, they just bite you right in the neck. They just take a bite right out of your neck. You never know who can wake up and bite you right in the neck, or who can fall back asleep, fall under the spell. So anyway, man, you can definitely atrophy your muscles, your brain, your critical thinking, and you just fall under the spell and think that the Matrix is reality, man. It's a sad, sad world we live in.
It's crazy, man. It's like, they start swinging wild. The zombies start swinging wild, trying to, try to push him away, and he just, it really is like a zombie movie. It really is.
Page 5 clinger.
It really is. Hey, everything's cool. Next thing you know, it's like, oh my, it's right out of Dawn of the Dead. Right out of, yeah, Mehdi, good to see you. Knowledge is truth. Exactly, man. Exactly. the ability to see and accept reality. Yeah, when you accept reality, accept it. It that is the thing, because it's, you can see it and not accept it. You're right. Yeah, yeah, man. The whole, when I look at these zombie movies, it's like, yeah, what did they? Yeah, Jake had hopped off. I think the connection.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
bad. I was just my phone hit the exit button accident. Sorry about that.
yeah, man. It really is like a zombie movie. Like when we look at all of the zombie movies, we can start to say, yeah, they they exhibit the behavior in society. When you try to wake somebody up, you'll see, like in Invasion of the Body Snatchers, if they know that you're awake, they'll start to scream to alert the other zombies, and it's creepy. And in 28 days later, I mean, they just took it to the next level with the zombies running at you. And
That was my favorite zombie movie because the zombies weren't all slow and sluggish and stupid. They were like rabid and fast. Like, oh man, I like
yeah,
that one.
straight 100-yard dash type of zombies. They were like, I mean, these guys were, it was, you think
Some
of,
even got up out the sewer, out like where the toilet water goes, and they just ran at you from the sewer. And some of them might even been getting paid. I mean, who knows, man? Some of these zombies, man, they just jump up out the sewer, just sprinting towards you. If the smell ain't bad enough, now you got to worry about getting infected by them biting you. It just, man, you never know where they're going to come from. You got to watch the sewers, man. Watch the sewers for the zombies running at you.
yeah, sewer zombies, man. Sewer zombies, straight out of the Matrix pod.
Sewer
So
zombies. Their matrix pod is in the sewer. And they fucking wake up out their pod. They just
they wake up from it, and it's like, it really, yeah, it's really something. Yeah, it really, Medi says, I used to think the zombie reference is just a generic stereotype, but in many ways, they are zombies. Yeah. I mean, in Dawn of the Dead, George Romero set it in a mall purposely to mock the shopping zombie. And there's a scene where one of the guys tells the lead, he said, they're coming here for them. And the guy goes, no. He goes, it seems like they're coming to this place because some sort of memory is still in them. So they weren't exactly coming to the mall to get them. They were coming because of the memory. The consumer memory is so,
wow.
yeah.
What movie was that?
This is Dawn of the Dead in the late
Ah, I
70s.
remember. Okay, yep.
Yeah, and then again, it's like George Romero was making statements. The two people that they always try to put at the that Hollywood is said to demean the most is the black man and the blonde woman. And we see that, or basically the woman who's white. We see it with King Kong movies, with just throwing her to the wolves. We see it with movies that have the black man playing a lower role. But in Dawn of the Dead, he changed it. He put this guy and this woman escaped at the end. I was like, holy smokes. And anybody who succumbed to the material consumerism when they were hiding in the mall ended up getting zombified. If anybody watches Dawn of the Dead again, they'll notice that, if because that's a movie to watch and to take notes and to show. Like they even showed something, I think, with dirty cops in the beginning of that eventually got caught up with the zombies. And it just
Wow. I'm going to
yeah,
watch the movie again, man, with a BP lens on this time.
yeah, man. That when one of the guys, they were he got, I think he was with, I think it was his wife, the blonde lady, and he got caught up in the mall because now they could do anything they want. There was money in the registers. I think he got her a wedding ring, and somehow he got caught up in the consumerism. Like the zombies are roaming through the mall, and they're locked inside of the stores, and they're making their way through the stores in the mall, but only through, they can't go in the center of the mall because that's where the zombies are. So they stay locked in the stores. And if they can make it from one to the other and then lock themselves back in it, they're safe. And the one guy, he starts seeing how the zombies are in places that they can't get to. They start breaking into, I guess, other parts, and he feels that he owns everything in the mall. Like he goes, no, that's not theirs, that's ours. And anybody who felt that way ended up getting assimilated by the zombies. By the end of the movie, when the woman and the man escaped, it gave like a very good like message, really. Yeah, it really
I love that message. If you
yeah,
get caught up in the consumerism, your humanity dies. I love it.
yeah, exactly. And that's a great way to put it. I mean, he also, his first movie, Romero, was Night of the Living Dead, and he did the same thing. But remember, that movie was in black and white, and he put a black man as the lead. And again, he puts a guy in the lead that is like a leadership role, to where it's like, okay, we've got to be safe from these zombies. I got to look out for everybody. And again, it's a blonde woman. So I think she ends up surviving at the end, and he ends up getting shot by, even though he survives, he gets killed by like what appeared to be a lynch mob. And I think,
Woo!
yeah, and I think that's what Romero, he was trying to say again. He goes, you could be a survivor in the zombie thing, and you still got to watch out for these lynch mobs that are just going to come and try to off you. And he was peeking through the door, and somebody was like, there goes another one, and he shoots him. And I said, wow, that's a really, it was messed up, but in a way, it could have been the thing that got Romero in to get it posted, because we see in many movies, it's as if, it's not a myth, because you can track it in so many movies. It's like they have to sacrifice a black guy for some reason, some ridiculous reason, at the beginning of almost every movie. It's like some type of ritual or something, man. It's ridiculous. It's just like,
Thank
what?
you. That's what I was gonna say, man. It's almost like a ritual or like some kind of weird type of sacrifice thing. They burn an
Yeah.
owl, some people would say, in the woods,
Mhm.
certain supposedly plant or something, plants in the woods, Supposedly someone said that. Supposedly they got secret footage. Who knows?
Well, the
But
crazy thing is, you can go down movies. You can just take all of these movies and go down. Matter of fact,
yep.
AI could probably help us do it a lot easier now. Just type in how many movies where a black man gets killed in the first 15 minutes of the movie. And we see it in many movies. And this is not to say anything racist against anyone. This is to
I
say,
gotta say, man, I hate
well,
AI, man. I put that as my new subtitle because people need to stop using AI, man. I wish everybody could disable it but people just keep, man, the more people use it, the more AI is able to mimic, zombies, not necessarily humans, but they can easily mimic zombies, which is the majority of the population. And I wish people wouldn't use it. But that ain't gonna happen. The zombies are gonna train their own demise, basically. But I like the concept where they just peek through the door, like maybe the zombie life ain't too bad. Boom! Don't even think about it.
yeah, man, it's we're at a point where I don't think anything's stopping AI. I mean, because what we see is just it's this is the tip of the iceberg. We can imagine how deep it goes. XAI
Yeah,
with
we're seeing what they developed about 20 or 30 years ago. I mean, how they release stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. And Mehdi says mole and zombies represent corporate America and the zombies that buy the product. You are attacked if you are not wearing the latest clothes. Never thought of it. Yeah, yeah. And if you look at the Black Friday videos from years ago, it's straight zombie fest. Somebody had a meme. If you look up Black Friday and Dawn of the Dead, it shows on one side people pressed against the door to get into the place to buy the stuff, and then on the other side it has a clip of the zombies trying to get into the mall, and they're almost identical. Yeah, they're almost identical. I mean, it really, the zombie movies were trying to tell us something. I mean, Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, his next film. But before those two, I would say it could be classified as a zombie movie, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And
I remember that meme, and it was so perfect. And I was just thinking, like, what are they acting like zombies for? This is before I even knew about BP or anything like that. And it's like materialism things, they're not necessities. Like, man, they really need to get some, just generic clothes, or, they need food, shelter, clothing, like just generic clothes, or they need some, cooking stuff to cook. Like, no, man, they're just zombies buying material things, like that comment said, just to, so they don't get attacked for not wearing the latest stuff, having the newest gadgets and the coolest stuff. Like, how pathetic, man.
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. We look at some of the things with like the pods, like we were saying, you see people just in these pods, and it's like, um, the mentality of them. We can look at it like people's mentality is so contained in a pod, in like a sack with the amniotic fluid. It's like their brain is in that. And then if you go shopping, going shopping is like this picture. You see the fields of towers of people that are in the zombies. These are like people at like casino towers, Trump towers, events, concerts, football games, anybody that these are the towers of the pods. And then in this moment, maybe somebody could wake up. They could wake up and they could look around and say, "Oh my goodness, have I been sleeping in this? Have I been in this pod sleeping away, not even knowing that I was plugged in?" And that is one of the things that when somebody looks into it, they start to see it goes pretty deep. Mr. Rex, what's up? How's up?
Good to see everyone. Good to see you, Jake. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
man.
Interesting subject. Do you think that pod, though? Do you think it looks like the inside of a human cell? Are they inferring that the way?
I think they're referring more to the amniotic sac.
Okay.
So like this is because they say it's like it's reminiscent of a placenta with the amniotic fluid
Mm-hmm.
that is all around. And then especially when Neo comes out of it, it's more like a gel-like substance, which um I guess it keeps the people again in that state of cocoonery. And then I mean when he wakes up, it's really shocking. I mean the fact that he's still plugged in, but he's awake, and then the machine comes to like kind of, it seems at first like in a violent way, it grabs him by the neck, by the throat, and screws out. I guess it grabs him by the throat to make sure the head is still enough or secured enough to unscrew the back port that goes directly into the spinal of the brain. And then the other things that pop into his spine, they start popping off, with like ear pneumatic devices, and then it flushes him. It flushes him down, and then he gets flushed down, and that's where that's when Morpheus and them, they wait for the flush, and then they catch them, and that's how they revive the person. They pull a person on the ship. They caught him with like that gripper device, brought him up, put him in the in like the it was like this not a pod but
Like
like
a spacecraft thing or something, and then
kind of a
they put him on like almost like a doctor's chair. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, like a surgical like tank,
There you go.
air
Yeah.
tank. And then when he goes, "Why do my eyes hurt?" and he said, "You've never used them," it gave me the idea of the analogy of if somebody says, "Man, why is it hard to think about these things?" Why, it's because you never use your mind to think.
Mm.
So
Just think about where he was heading before Morpheus grabbed him. Like, that must have been like probably like a tree chipper type of like grinder, grind him up, use him as that human flesh and fluid and everything as ambiotic fluid for another pod. Like, oh, this one woke up. Just we need to delete this one because he's woken up, and we don't want any threats to this nice battery chambers that we got going here. So let's just recycle this and use this. The fluids that we get as an ambiotic fluid for the good zombies that are staying asleep. If you wake up, you get attached, just like you said, MD. And then Morpheus was there to save him. And like you always say, all we can do is look for their survivors. And they found a survivor, and they got to run over there before he, hits the grinder or the juicer or whatever you want to call it.
The juice.
exactly, yeah, to revive him in time before he gets recycled. and
Yeah.
into the food that they feed back to the living. And then think of that when they say the ones that die get recycled and fed back to the living, and people with their theories today about what is being fed to humans. When you
Mm.
think about, the amount of burgers and stuff they say are sold every day, and when you start to add up the math, you say, well, it can't be all 100% beef. It's got to be some mixtures in there.
And they're not building no new cemeteries. So where are they going?
Mm.
Yeah, Mr. X, you know what I'm saying?
No, no, no. Just agreeing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the whole when
You,
I put up the pictures, yeah, it's like the pods, man, who when they came up with this idea, I mean, well, you know what too? And when I think of the pods like this, Invasion of the Body Snatchers from the 50s, um, that actually had pods. When you and look at the analogy, when you fell asleep, it started to grow a replica of you. And if you didn't wake up, the replica would take over your body by letting your body waste away in atrophy. And now the replica comes out of the pod, because Invasion of the Body Snatchers was clearly a pod, a gigantic human-sized pod grown from one of the spores that landed on Earth, according to the movie. And that is it's amazing, because when you look at somebody that falls asleep mentally, we say, yeah, you're just asleep, man. You don't know. You got to wake up. And that is amazing that they had that in the movie from the 50s.
Yeah, I agree.
Because when I said, wait a minute, so in other words, you fall asleep, and they were taking pills to stay awake, but they knew they could only stay awake for so long. That's the scare. Invasion of the Body Snatchers is such a deep movie. It's such a deep movie because it's telling you, like, hey, if it's going to be hard, almost impossible to stay awake. And we start to see, like, well, then what do we do? What do we do?
man, that's why I think your streams, that's one of the reasons why I think your streams is so essential, MD, because you got to surround yourself with other people who are awake, other survivors. You got to remind yourself not to get lulled back into the easy path of just watching the idiot box, what some people would call a TV, and getting, some people say it's even a brainwashing device. There might even be a patent for it, call it a brainwashing device. And, you know, if you're just around other zombies, you're going to slowly start thinking like them, acting like them. And before you know it, you become one. So, that's really all I think you can do is surround yourself with other people who are not zombified. And for some people, it's harder than others.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about it. I hope that answers CD's question, to where the survivors, sometimes you just got to wake up. Sometimes, and that's a hard one, because we don't realize sometimes how we woke up. Usually, some people think, oh, well, people wake each other up, but I'm not sure, because we know that you can tell somebody the truth and they won't wake up. We know that for sure.
They
So,
will resist and fight you. They will
yeah,
turn into Agent Smith, and they'll try to delete you, try to put you back in the pod, fall back in line. Don't think outside the box, outside the pod. Waking people up, dude, is not the answer. I'll tell you that much right now.
yeah. They say that the pod scene in the original 1999 film, where Neo wakes up and is flushed, is considered one of the most iconic moments in sci-fi cinema. To where, I mean, it when you really look at it, they have so many things in between the lines of, like, what it's saying, what it could mean. Just the fact that people have done the artwork, and I mean, excellent job at it too.
Man, it's one of the best movies ever made, man. It really is.
Yeah, yeah, it has. I mean, it requires a lot of research to go into saying, hey, I mean, the feels,
Did you see
the
those
feels,
towers though?
huh?
Think of those. Those towers with the electricity.
You mean this one?
Yeah, right there. What are they implying there? Is that like a form of mitosis or cell division? I don't know.
No, I think they're implying that these are the towers where all of those red nodules are people in a pod, and they're generating electricity
Oh,
to
okay,
keep,
gotcha.
yeah, to keep the matrix going. So that's when Matrix says there's fields where they grow humans. He goes, where they grow us. He goes, I've seen the fields. So these are the fields right here where they grow people for energy, basically. And to keep the energy supply steady, they have to provide mental stimulation, a belief, basically. And that's another way to look at it when you say, wow, it works on belief. Because if the people don't believe that the matrix is real, they said that they lost entire crops when they made the perfect place.
Yes, and kind of that reminded me of the mouse utopia experiment, where everything was too easy, so the mice ended up getting fat and lazy and not doing anything. Then they even turned to cannibalism, and that's I think it's a reference to that, to the mouse utopia experiment, and so they had to make some suffering and some hardships and things like that, and some triumphs and failures, and so it kept people entertained and interested, and because I think without the will to live, without the chance of a good life, and without going through any struggles along the way and triumphs, I think people do just kind of lose interest, and then if like the other mouse experiment where someone picked up the mouse when it was drowning, it was treading water for like 30 minutes, picked it up, it was drowning, and then they put it back in the water, it would tread water for like 18 hours longer, compared to the other mouse where no one ever came to pick it up. It just said, well, no one's coming, and just gave up after like an hour. So I think that's why it's such a weird experiment. And the mouse utopia experiment and the mouse drowning experiment, I think that's why they had to create suffering and triumphs and things like that.
Well, I think the one with the with the mouse, where the mouse is treading water and they don't rescue it, and I think it gives up after a few hours. But then in the tests where they do rescue it and they put it back in, like, so they say, okay, the regular amount is like, I think it's 12 or 18 hours, and then after that, then it's like, oh, okay, let's rescue some of them, put them back in, and see how long that they'll swim for before they give up. And um I think it was like three times the amount. Let me see, mouse swim experiment. If they have it under that, um hope. All right, maybe hope is the other one, because it did have something to do with hope. And it says, okay, that's what it was. Rats initially, and this was in the 50s again. For this stuff to be going on 75 years ago is just ridiculous. To think that we're in, what we look around and see is the current state of technology. You have to be zombified uh, to really believe that. Ashar, what's up? 15:45. You are on point. Thank you so much. She is on. Yeah, so 15 minutes. Oh, wait a minute, Ashar. I think it goes deeper because I typed in mouse swimming experiment hope. It says that the initially gave up at 15 minutes. And then, but after being rescued and placed back in water, they swam for hours, it says, up to 60 hours, believing rescue was possible, demonstrating that hope and perceived control dramatically extended endurance and despair. Wow. So it went on for some of them up to 60 hours. That's almost unbelievable. And in the initial one, when they were placed in jars of water to left swim
Did you
until
say, sorry, man, I missed that? Did you say 15 minutes and 60 hours was the difference of being saved one time?
that's what they're saying. I'm going through it again. It says initial trial, rats were placed in the jar, which is a horrific experiment to begin with, but okay, we'll go forward. Usually within 15 minutes. So they were left to swim until they drowned, usually within 15 minutes. Second trial with hope. The same rats were placed back in the water, but this time researchers rescued them just before they drowned, dried them, and let them rest. Then the second immersion, when the rats were put back in the water for a second time, they swam for an incredibly long time, up to 60 hours, far beyond their initial limit. So,
Wow.
yeah, not to say all, but it says, so some of them, but still, I mean, that's like ridiculous. The rats didn't give up, it says, because they believed rescue was possible, that they had an experience before. So it's not just a belief without a real thing. So like some people, some religious people will be quick to come in and just be like, oh, you got to believe. And it's like, wait a minute. No, those rats drowned. They gave up after 15 minutes. When
You know what's funny is like when people really have a religious experience and things like that, they say they were saved, and it's such a good correlation to that experiment. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It always reminds me of what Nietzsche says, man. Nobody converts to a religion. You have to be mentally sick enough to accept it. So it's not saying anything bad about people who are religious, but I got to realize there's a level of mental trauma that still allows the person to adhere to that specific branch of mental insanity, which they might call a religion. Something like that.
I gotta say, most people, who say they were saved, they were in a very mentally bad place, and they found religion. And I think religion is good, man. I think it does save people, but it's not like life was perfect and then you found religion. You're like, boom, like it's not the same, man. When you're in a bad place, like that's typically when people find religion, man. When you're struggling, you're going through a hardship,
Mhm.
and you're not in a good place mentally, and all of a sudden, like you find religion
Yeah.
just at the right time, whatever. You meet the right people you can kind of relate with, or whatever it is, man. And all of a sudden you're learning about this religion, and you think like, man, like this religion saved me, man. Because before I was such in a mentally bad place. Now I feel like I'm doing so much better. Was it really the religion, or was it just you were going through such hardship and everything like that that this gave you hope? You know what I mean? That you were able to tread water, tread life, just the ups and downs and the struggles and everything like that. And that's what people feel like religion saved them. Now, I'm not saying it did or it didn't or whatever. I'm just saying I kind of related to the mouse drowning experiment, and it is it's very interesting, man. You got to think about it beyond just like, oh, everything this religion says is 100% true, and what you got. You just got to think. I think this experiment is a great correlation. Is what I think.
Well, yeah, and I hear what you're saying. It says here the conclusion is that the rats didn't give up because they believed rescue was possible. They had experienced it before. So the fact that they gave up at first, they didn't know what, rescue was. They're just like, look, you just got to help yourself. But the ones that had experienced before, now they go a lot further.
That's what I was gonna say, man. Like right there, right when you said where it's not a fake thing. It's like someone helped you. You just felt like you were alone in the world. You feel like the world is cold and callous, and you got this like jaded view of the world, and you're going through this hard time. And then all of a sudden, someone helps you, and they might be religious, and they introduce you to a religion, and you feel like it was that religion that made that person who helped you, that religion made them act that way. And so you say like, oh man, then you start getting a religion, you meet some other nice people who are being helpful, and then you feel like the religion saved you. But really it was the act of kindness that one person showed to you. You know what I mean? And so I'm not trying to give all the credit to religion. What I'm trying to say is they actually had someone help them when maybe other people just turned a cold shoulder, or they were ignoring them or whatever. It's like being kind to people it might give someone, because you don't know where people are at, you know what I mean? So isn't it much better to go through life like trying to be helpful when you can, trying to say like even though some words of encouragement when you can, or you don't know how much hope it's going to give that person. You know where they're at in life, you know what I mean? So if everybody,
Mhm.
treated everybody a little bit better, I think there'd be a lot more hope going around, a lot more people striving to, for success and to do better in life and help other people. That's where I was going. You just kind of hit the nail right in the head there, MD.
Yeah, it's they get really deep with this, and it tells them, it gives them information on how to oppress people more, how to make sure, how to break them, just the way that they talk about, breaking horses and stuff, which is,
Now we know why they conducted the experiment.
yeah,
Now,
yeah, really, we know they didn't conduct it for our best interest. Mr. Super Sidewinder, good to see you, brother. Ashar says, when I was in a bad place, I found myself, and that spark of life I remembered, but have never really forgotten, is what led me back to God. Now, wow, did you find yourself, like, was it a self revelation, or was it something that somebody else said or did for you? So was it because this is what I was going to touch upon. I'm glad you left this comment here, because it really gets me to thinking. Sometimes we don't well, it's like if we don't think we need somebody else, like somebody could come by and you need something and they give you something and you say, wow, that was the point that made me get hope, and now I go further, right? Somebody could literally save you, so that could be another way, probably more dramatic, right?
now
But
I like this conversation now, man. This is getting awesome.
and then could it be that people also could could just be in that place and be thinking, man, this is ridiculous, and then they just happen to run into something. Somebody might look down and um, pick something up and be like, oh my goodness, look, they found money. Like, oh, this is a sign. So now it wasn't a person. Now it goes into something with that person, and something that is not a relationship with a physical human that helped them, but it's more like an experience that helped them. Now, I didn't know. I have to look into this rat experiment. Was the rat saved by a human hand? Was it a plank that it was put out while it was swimming, so the rat wouldn't know? Because they'll know if a human hand picks it up, as opposed to, say, they press a button and the like the plank comes out so it can crawl up on it and save itself from being drowned.
Very interesting question for that experiment. I like it.
See, and yeah, these are the things that we need to ask as scientific researchers. And that's where we go beyond the average researcher, because the guy with the PhD will say, oh, well, yeah, and we already know now to shut him down, to be like, look, man, your PhD is toilet paper, basically.
Remember the evolution doctor in quotations?
Oh yeah, yeah. It just, you think about it. Ashar says, I was completely alone at the time. Wow. So that is that's a spiritual revelation. That is really deep. That's probably, I would say, one of the deepest ones.
That's what I was going to say. When he was alone, he
Yeah.
found himself, remembered what he was capable of, and things like that. That's kind of what happened to me, but there was also some help. And I like your idea of if there was a helping hand, or was it just like the floor was raised up from the bottom, like so they were able to stand like a sandbar or something like that. You know what I mean? Or a plank or whatever, flotation device, whatever it was. If you look at it two ways, one, the helping hand, kind of like what I mentioned before, is did someone give you a hand up? You start looking at that person, and you realize, oh, the religion made it act that way. Maybe it was a religion that saved them, or was it just you found yourself, or maybe there was something that helped, and then did you view that as a sign, like a sign from God? You know what I mean? So I like the way that I like the question you asked there. That's a great, question to ask for that experiment.
Thanks, man. And this is where, everything has their good and bad. Like, you're right. AI can destroy people if they use it to write or do certain things, because it kills the process. It's like, we already know, and we don't care, because we see the benefit in not having to remember everybody's phone number anymore. So we just press a button. So nobody's going to go back and say, hey, you know what, man, I'm going to memorize. I'm not going to put anybody's name in the phone. I'm going to memorize. Nobody's doing that. So we see that, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but we think that, okay, we don't need that. We don't need the ability to remember these numbers anymore, because we have a device to do it now. But with the AI, being that we can type in certain things, we got to know, okay, there's certain things you don't use it for, and there's certain things that you can use it for. Just the way we can use a calculator for calculations. So we might say, okay, some formulas, maybe we should do it to realize, okay, this is how it works. But then there's other times when you just say, I can use the calculator for this, because it's going to speed it up at the moment, because I'm going to go further into it. But it says here, it was Dr. Kurt Richter's 1950s Hope experiment. It was a human hand that saved the rat. This is great. See, this is what AI is great for. The fact that I didn't have to, and of course, it has to be double checked and triple checked. But this is the initial encounter for us to where we don't have to speculate right away. Like, okay, was it a stick? Because that would have been a deeper part of the experiment to say, okay, save some of them with a hand and save some of them with a stick, to where it's like they might have thought they got lucky, or because they probably did go further with this. And it says
That's what I was going to say, Andy. Maybe they did. It's also suspicious that the last time this experiment was run with such astounding results was 1950. I don't believe it. You know what I mean?
yeah, no, they've been testing this ever since. It never stopped. And what was happening?
Some people would even say Conan was a test, or some people would say, something that happened is in September was a test, or some people would say certain things that happened throughout history might have been a test, not done on mice.
Yeah, and it says here, well, these were rats, because they do say the mice, but it's rats. Yeah, they're saying that this was an experiment with rats, and that it allowed them to keep swimming. The experiment is frequently cited to illustrate that belief as a potential rescue for a helping hand allows for vastly increased resilience. But that belief has to be based on some type of revelation or action or something. Like how Ashar was saying that she was completely alone at the time, and that spark of life is what led her back. So it's like, okay, that is a self type of revelation. And yeah, I think AI is, I think that's their plan. Yeah, I think it's the plan, because you have, the zombies, they are hoping for that. The zombies are ready for the chip. They've been begging for the chip 20 years ago. And they're the people that say that everybody should be forced to magic potion and all this stuff. And we already see, it makes me even wonder, it's like, are these actually human? Are they NPCs? Are they humans being controlled with a form of parasite that just turns them into a zombie?
Bro, I remember I went into a place, man. I went to order something, and like you couldn't sit down at the table. I was like, all right, I'm just waiting for my food. I'm going to sit down. Like, you can't sit down. I was like, what the fuck is the difference if I stand here or I sit down? I'm just like, dude, what is up with these people, man? Like, these are not even people. Like, if that didn't wake you up, man, I don't know what will. Put the chip in my brain. Put it in my hand. Put it in my eyes. Put it anywhere. I don't care. Just zombify me up. That's what most people are thinking, man. I don't know what it, like you said, MD, NPCs, zombies. What is wrong with these people?
Yeah, it makes me wonder if it's the NPC thing. Then we know there's two types of people now. We got the clone, or the NPC, and the human, the thinking. Or are we all NPCs and some of us became aware? Pandemic, what's up, bro? Woke 909. He says the chip is already in every smartphone. Every desktop. You don't need to implant one. Yeah, you're right. You're right. People will wear that implant and defend it. They definitely will. Yeah, the magic potion. Yeah, when you think about that, it is just ridiculous. And that's the thing. It reminds me of, if anybody watches it on YouTube, the Bugs Bunny cartoon, where Brody, I think it was something about the Brooklyn Bridge, and he starts going nuts saying, hey, Doc, everybody is rabbits. He goes, everybody's turning into rabbits. And when he's trying to talk to the doc, he's Bugs Bunny in disguise. And he takes off the disguise and he goes, what's up, Doc? And then he's running through the streets, and he goes to the vendor. Hey, can you help me? And he's like, what's up, Doc? And then he goes to the other person. He's like, what's up, Doc? And then finally at the end, he gets to the policeman on the Brooklyn Bridge, I think. And he goes up to the policeman and he's like, officer, please. He goes, you got to save me from these rabbits. And then when he turns around, it's Bugs Bunny in the cop uniform. And he says, what's all these talks about rabbits I hear, Doc? And that's when he jumped off the Brooklyn Bridge. And
I remember that episode. That was a good one, MD.
Yep. Brody, It was hilarious, man. I mean, Bugs Bunny had some such realistic. It put realistic. Uh, um, it put realistic scenarios in
Bro,
in
yeah, old
cartoon.
cartoons, man, actually taught you something. Now, man, kids' cartoons, it's just brainwashing. It's like advertisements or whatever, man. I was doing this remodel in a family's house, and like, I'm just like, dude, what kind of cartoons are these nowadays, man? Like, these things are weird, man.
Yeah, yeah. It's so controlling mentally. We don't even know what this could be programming kids to do. I mean, it's just it's on a level where it's like, what the? I mean, you think about a lot of people. We're talking about the Matrix pod and all of that. There's people that are 25 years old that weren't even born when the movie came out. Now that's okay because there's older movies. None of us was born when Invasion of the Body Snatchers or Night of the Living Dead and stuff came out.
Yeah,
Um,
I gotta watch Invasion of Bystanders because you convinced me to watch the movie Galactica, like amazing BP movie, and you've mentioned that movie quite quite several, at least a few times, and now I gotta watch that one too if that's another BP movie. And speaking of that, Mr. X, how about your daughter? How asleep is your daughter, man? Like, what was the cartoons like when she was growing up?
It's interesting you mentioned that because I started thinking about it. She really wasn't into cartoons too much, but she was in, when she started, getting older. I forget the name of this show. It had Britney Spears' sister in it. I can't remember, about some high school they're going to that's on the ocean and everything like that.
Uh,
I don't know the name.
Brainwashing.
Yeah, but it was such brainwashing. It was so sexually oriented about women and sex and relationships, and I'm like, what the hell is this crap? It's like they're acting like adults when they're still kids. You know what I mean? It was just like,
That is weird, and it's
yeah,
just like, man, when you see women stand-up comedians, like they cannot do a stand-up skit without mentioning sex or relationships. It's like that's their whole life. They don't have like hobbies or just notice funny things or whatever. Just like that's all they got to talk about is sex or relationships. It's just like they're not funny, man. Like they are not. I don't care, man. I don't think I've ever seen a funny female stand-up comic that can do a skit without talking
no, no, there
about
are
sex or relationships.
there are some funny comics out there.
I know
Remember,
there might be a couple, but
yeah.
I mean, dude, they or stand on stage without showing their tits or their
Oh, no,
legs or their,
oh,
you
it
know what
was
I mean?
Zoe
Like it's
101. That was the name
rare.
of
we
the show. I
can't
looked it
curse
up.
on
Zoe
here.
101.
Yeah, we can't curse on it here. She says Zoe 101. What is this?
That was the show my daughter used to watch, and I hated that show
Wow.
with
Really?
Britney
Why?
Spears. The Zoe 101. It was a big show about these rich kids in a private school, but it was so sexually oriented. And I hated that. It's like, what the hell? It's like they want
Why?
kids at such a young age to be so sexually oriented. It's like, let them grow up, let them be kids. They got the rest of their lives for this crap. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's what I did notice raising a daughter. The shows that they
That is
like. Yeah.
that they were basically soliciting those type of cartoons toward her.
Well, it wasn't
That
a cartoon. It was a TV show.
okay, Zoe
It was
101.
it
Ashar's
was
right.
towards
Yeah.
kids. It was
Ashar is so right that kids' cartoons now are all dog propaganda. Matter of fact, I think that dog propaganda goes back, all the way to Lassie. And I do understand that this is a culture where people don't realize the dangers or what the deal is with having these pets like dogs. I can say, okay, service dogs, I can understand the Saint Bernard that can find a person during an avalanche to save them, the blind eye seeing dog, the service dogs in that kind of way. But these, like when you look at these dogs that people have, the pit bull, stuff like that, all of this, that are, I think they account for over 4 million deaths a year in America. I have to look it up, but people don't see that dogs are it seems to be, in my opinion, a serious threat. It just, and this is something that's unlooked. Actually, that's how Ashar and I got connected on from another channel that was, very much exposing the dog.
Bro, there is a dog epidemic in America. And I think the biggest threat to dogs is, to me, I always saw like a dog, like a family dog or something like that. Like, still kind of weird, but whatever, just like, but now people are calling their dogs their children. and people are not having families because they think that they treat their pets like children. It's ruining the family structure of America. Also, consumerism is, and feminine. This word that starts with an F that we're probably not allowed to say. But there's a dog epidemic that is causing a lot of problems in America.
Well, another thing too. Oh, Mr. X, you had something?
No. I'm just listening.
Another thing too is that if you notice that when a dog does something, they never blame the dog. It's like alcohol. Somebody dies or something like that. Oh, well, drink responsibly. But if they were on heroin or some drug, oh, those bad drugs. We got to get those bad drugs off the street, right? So when the dog does something, you got the news, all of this, like, oh, what could have triggered this dog? And it's like, what are you, nuts? You had a dog. I mean, the guy that has the channel that Ashar and I both know of, he really drops the knowledge on some. I mean, he's very extremely biased against dogs, but I look at it as you can find some truth in there. Yeah, and you have, it's like what Alexis was saying. If the dog bites somebody, who do you think? It's the owner. And the sad thing is when you have these dogs that attack the children of the owner, and the owner will still keep the dog, saying, I don't know, maybe something triggered the dog. It's like that animal is not supposed to be next to your child.
Like a pit bull. Those
Yeah, any dog, because of the parasites, even cat. You look at it, it's like, what are you, nasty people?
Yeah.
Agreed, man.
These are nasty people. I remember one of my friends, he had a pit bull, and I went over there years ago. I had to be like 15 years ago, and the dog was inside. And he goes, man, if it was up to me, he goes, this dog would not even be in the house. And I saw how his wife and his daughter, and it was like, man, and he was a definitely put his foot down type of guy, but they broke him. They broke him because this guy was definitely a guy that did his own thing. I mean, I used to see him get into arguments with his wife and stuff. He was not a total yes man, but when that happened, I said, yeah, they broke him. I said, they definitely broke him. They got this dog, and he was so right. He goes, yeah, man, the smell in the house is different. He goes, you got the dog in the kitchen, walking through the kitchen, and just for sake of not hearing his wife's mouth, he would be like, and that's probably why he goes in the garage and drinks 10, 12 beers and gets blasted and, plays cards with his friends and stuff. And I was just like,
bro, when I see someone's house and it's full of dog hair, or I just see them out and about and they're like sweatshirt is filled with dog hair, I'm like, dude, that is disgusting, man. And people just think it's normal. Like, gross, man.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very, very, it's so messed up. Yeah. It's so sad when I think about how it's nasty, and I see it also. I mean, I like animals, I care about animals. I care about all life. I'm interested with it, but there's a place for that. And I don't think it's in a person's house. Anybody who has an animal in the house, whether it be cat, dog, bird, whatever, it gives off a different smell. You walk in there, it's like, what are you in a zoo or something? It's like, what you don't have sensory glands? I used to get in.
Are you in a zoo? I love it.
Right? I mean, one of my friends, this girl I was dating, man, and she must have really liked me because she was a pretty girl, but we'd be having sex, and this was, years ago. And I'm like, well, she had this little dog, she had money. She worked at the bank. She was making like over $100,000 a year. She bought this little teacup. I mean, this thing was like $5,000. And I'm like, I'm not able to just, I want to be myself. I don't want this. What's this dog doing in the room? And I would black out sometimes. Oh, okay, I'll put him in the room, And I'm like, what the, it just really had me thinking, why do you have this dog here?
Oh man, I miss the good old MD blackouts, man, on the original good channel, man.
I feel kind of, because she was a nice girl and stuff. I never did anything mean, but I wasn't having it. Oh, we got somebody backstage. I'm just seeing if he's a troll or not. Oh, the amount of trolls we get. All right, let me see. Toxic Angel, who are you? 3, 2, 1. All right. I gave you a chance to say who you were. If you want to type in the chat to let us know who you are, you can do that.
There goes Jose getting flushed.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Jose. I doubt it, but let me see. Okay,
Yeah,
is
I
this
don't think with Toxic Angel.
Toxic Angel? You got this. Is your last chance, man. Okay, I guess Toxic Angel is seeing that I have the shield up and might be Dream Theater Guitars. I don't know what. You just type something in the regular chat so I know. Oh, the private chat. You could not hear me first time, bro. Not a troll. No, I couldn't hear you. Let me see. All right, I just pulled you on. You're unmuted. So if you're talking, nobody can hear you right now. So it's like, I guess, I don't know. He's saying he's not a troll. Okay, bro, I got by Toxic Angel. I don't troll. No,
Yo, fix your
okay.
mic.
You
then.
can hear me now. You can hear me now. I'm sorry. I didn't know my mic was off. No, I'm not trolling your show, bro. I just I saw you a week ago and I've been following you. I think it's interesting. I'm not going to disrespect your show.
Oh wait, is this
Why?
shipping container cell? Is this shipping container cell from way back?
No, I dude, it was just recommended to me.
Oh, okay, okay.
It
So
doesn't sound like shipping container cell. He had
yeah, remember that
definitely
guy?
more of like a nerd.
Yeah, way back.
Dude, that guy was hilarious, so I forgot about him.
He says, I cannot smash the chick when an animal. Yeah, man. I mean, I couldn't take it, bro. And, I mean, we didn't break up because of that, but I was so glad when I think back on it. And I think, wow, how hilarious it was. After about 3, maybe 4 times, she got to where she immediately knew. It got to where I didn't have the blackout in the living room while we're having sex on the couch. She would put the dog in the room and then we could have sex. And I'm like, I had to go through 3 or 4 blackouts to get to that, And Ashar says, you can't have your eyes on your dog 100% of the time. Saying it's all on the owner is like denying the circumstances beyond. Yeah, no, you do have a point with that, but I look at it like this. And this is a very good point you bring up. If knowing that you can't keep your dog on your eyes on the dog 100% of the time, this is where I still blame the owner, because if that dog does something, that you're dealing with, you have a dangerous weapon. So in other words, you have a weapon that could go off if you don't keep your hand, off the trigger, or to keep it in its holster. But they're laying it on the table. And the dog is even worse because the dog can be triggered.
American Zombie, I got a question though. Have
Yeah.
you ever hooked up with a chick that had a fucking tiger?
You can't curse. We can't curse on here. So the F word,
Okay.
that's why, you can't curse. All right, man?
Gotcha.
All right, go ahead.
You ever hook up with a chick that's been had a lion or a tiger? Like, that's some dangerous women, bro.
Are you serious, man?
Yeah, that's a stupid
They
question,
exist, bro.
man. He is a troll after all, I guess.
That's
No.
kind of weird, man. That's kind of weird.
I don't know why it's weird.
What did you have any question? The title of the podcast is How to Wake Up from the Matrix Pod. Is that like what brought you over, more than just it being in the feed?
Well, I think How to Wake Up from the Matrix is mastery. So like over music or artistic expression, if we really thinking, is it the Donald Trumps or the Bidens that will really be remembered in history?
You said mastery, so if you get really good and study books that a school gives you, like a doctor, like, okay, you mastered this subject, you have a doctorate in whatever subject you want. You think that's how you wake up out of the matrix? Is read more zombie books?
I think I was more talking about artistic mastery.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and explain, man. How does artistic mastery? Give us an example of which field of art and how that would wake you up.
I don't know. I watch a lot of musical artists, and they come to a point where they create a song that it's like their opus magnus. It's just insane, and I don't know how else to look at that.
Go ahead, give one example.
One example.
That's all you need.
There's a song by these 2 Italian artists, 2 female Italian artists. I think it's Gioli. I can't remember the other girl's name, but they wrote this song called Playing Chess, and it's pretty insane.
Okay, so what's the song about, and how do you think that proves they're awake?
I don't know. I think it's just something you'd have to experience.
Good
If you've
job,
never,
man. Good example. I
if you've
don't
never
know. Good
mastered
example.
a
All right,
craft,
let's give one example that you can explain.
mastering music theory, piano, anything, martial arts.
I said give one example of an art form where people mastered it and then it proved that they're not a zombie.
I just gave you plenty.
No. You just named a bunch of art fields. I said give me one example of a master in any art field. Just name the person, their art field, and then how that art field made them become awake.
I think
You're talking about subjective terms. Awake.
Yeah, I'm not talking about subjective terms. I'm talking about not being a consumerism, not believing the propaganda, not going with a flow, like going against the grain and using critical thinking. That's what we're talking about by saying don't be a zombie.
Yeah, when you leave all that shit behind and you just master music as opposed to trying to fulfill the duty of making it a career.
You're saying leave all that stuff behind, man. Like there's plenty of people who are successful in their careers in every single field, man. They're still zombies. They still follow the propaganda.
I'm not talking about
they still
a
do all
career.
the same things. Well, I'm talking about any career, any art field, any whatever you want to call it, man. Plenty of people do every form of art field, whatever, man. Art, career, whatever you want to say, and they're still zombies, man. I don't think mastering anything allows someone to become awake. I think it's more than that. So I'm asking you to give me one example of, man, they mastered something and then they woke up. Go ahead and give me an example of that.
There's countless, but mastery in and of
itself. I asked you to give me one example, and you haven't given me one example yet.
Mastery is not reliant on you making a career out of it.
No one said that. I said, give me one example to where someone was asleep, then they mastered something, and now magically they're awake. That's all I asked you to do, and you haven't named one example
that they're awake.
Did you say magical?
Yeah, I think
did you say magical?
That they forget the rules of the chessboard and they just pay attention to what they're mastering.
No. So someone being obsessed with a certain thing does not mean they're awake. Does not mean that they're not following the propaganda. Does not mean that they're going against the grain now.
Awake to what? The bullshit of politics?
Hey, didn't I tell you to not curse, man?
Oh, cursing. I'm sorry.
Okay, I just wanted to jump in here and say so far, I mean, I do get deceived a lot, right, when it comes to people's personalities, but I don't feel like this guy is too trolly. Like I haven't heard too much. I mean, I have done it.
Yeah, dude, you're naive. I can hear it in your voice that you're naive.
Yeah,
I can hear it, like whatever the comment that was. I can hear it in the inflection of the voice that this guy's a troll.
No, this is the mind. I pulled the mind on too. So the
no,
mind,
I understand. I'm just telling them that the mind is naive, is what I'm saying. I can tell him the voice that he's naive.
I don't think he's naive, but I think
I do get. Like I said, I do get deceived. I have been deceived.
Yeah, dude, you're naive.
He's saying now. We're saying Prime says he's a troll. Ashar says he's given the troll the inflection in the voice.
Thank you. I agree with Ashar on this one.
18 says, yeah, he's derailing the system and he is super weird. It's okay to be weird, man, but it's like, again, what's the purpose? Like what?
Yes. I pulled a UMD. I asked him for one example and he couldn't do it.
There's too many.
Oh, there's too many, but you can't give one. We had a guy the day that
man.
He said I said so much things that he was mad about, and I said, okay, name one, but he couldn't name one. So we kind of have things here where we can, from thinking so much and analyzing people, right? We are able to discern whether somebody's full of crap or not, and not saying that you are, but it's like Prime says, he said mastery. If the musicians were so impactful, how is it that he doesn't remember their names exactly? Furthermore, he can't even explain himself. So you see, this is
Thank you. Now, Andy might not be saying you're full of crap, but I am.
Now, and the people in the chat, the people on this stream are extremely conscious. Now, in the midst of that, we're going to get trolls. We're going to get people that come on that might not be as conscious as the rest of us. So we ask a few questions, you know, and the Mind came on. He's still on with us. It's 4 of us on here. And he was saying that you don't give off trolly vibes to him, but
Yeah,
to,
and I did want to answer the question myself too. The like, what was the question?
Hey
You
man, the Mind.
gave
Before you answer the question, your mic is messed up, man. Try to leave and come back on because your mic is like really crackled and stuff. Try to leave and come back on.
yeah, I don't know why it crackles like that. I don't know why his mic crackles like that, man. Yeah. Demick says, woke. He says, Germany kids buying, yeah, the nitrous oxide. I've heard of that stuff, man. It's really, really, but yeah, you know, and he has a good point. Prime has a good point. You know, you should be able to explain yourself very, very simply, you know, simple terms.
Yeah, when you understand something, that means you're able to explain it. That's when you really understand something. When you
Yeah.
kind of over talk and you kind of beat around the bush, you say a lot of things that aren't relevant. That's when, or you say, "Oh, there's just so much I just can't explain it." That's when you know someone does not know much about the subject that they're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you have something to add about the topic, how to wake up from the matrix, I don't know if you noticed that was the title of the stream. I would assume.
you know, I've been around the world. I've infiltrated areas in archaeological, you know, like Yucatan. You have to navigate through the ganglands of Mexico, and
So
you
you
see
like,
all this political.
This guy is definitely a troll.
are you
I'm
like
not
Indiana
trolling.
Jones or something? Are you saying?
No, I mean, but you have to risk prison if you get caught going into places you're not allowed to go in a third world
Bro,
country.
he's Indiana troll.
Well, wait a minute. Why are you going into these places? What's the purpose?
Learning about.
So you're going to risk jail time to go into other places to just learn about what?
Our history.
You
know, not every country has a separation of religion and archaeology, or a religion and state. So you get into countries.
Here's what I think. I think he's being coached by like someone who is a troll, and so they need a new voice. And they're like, "Oh, ND, he talks about, you know, ancient origins and things like that, like to learn about it." So I think he's being coached right now by a troll, you know, who is an agent basically.
Yeah. Now, why?
When I'm talking about mastery, when I think about ancient Egypt or Yucatan, I think about the art that they made, like the true masters, not the kings, not the people that are teaching the religions.
Oh yeah.
Yo, Ashar, do you hear the inflection that I'm hearing?
How does my mic sound?
Your mic sounds great. It sounds great.
Right, you don't sound like R2D2 anymore, man. Go ahead, give your take on it, because this guy, we're sick of his BS. He's being coached right now, so I'm really sick of this guy. Toxic things. Thank you. Flushed. All right, the Mind. Your mic sounds great. Let's go.
He's backstage, but I don't see. It really seems like somebody's coaching him, and it's so sad because I've noticed. Yeah, go ahead, Mind. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess. I mean, he said mastery, like creation, like the art. He said music, art.
Again, it's like people will troll people and say, well, like how Jake was saying, they talk about this, they talk about that, and it's sort of like when you ask somebody a few questions, and it's nothing against the person. It's like, okay, just listen to the stream some more, and you'll catch on and see what we're talking about, and then when you feel like, you know, you can flow.
When you feel like you don't need to be coached in what to say, so that way you can flash or curse or try to bait MD or whatever that your coach was trying to get you to do. Whenever you feel like you might actually want to not be a zombie and want to add into these conversations, then maybe you can jump back on. But right now you're being a troll. You're being coached by someone. One of the many enemies of the stream. You know, obviously being coached.
He makes a good point. He says, sounds like shipping container cell with a voice changer. It could be. It could be. I forgot totally how shipping container. And yeah, he's probably being coached by Koala and Self-Made. I can't believe Self-Made is still trolling with Koala. I mean, the guy is like
That's who it actually sounds like with the voice changer. If anything,
Yeah.
is self-made with
Yeah.
the voice changer.
Yeah.
The way, the inflection of his voice, everything. Yeah, that was him. But shipping container cell was funny. Just a curtain behind him, and
man,
clearly in a shipping container, dude. That was hilarious.
he was hilarious, man. I think about it. It's just like, and then to think self-made is a grandfather. Imagine somebody knowing their grandfather's a troll with Koala. It's
Bro, I
like,
actually started watching a couple of his streams. Like I watched a little bit of a couple of his streams. Dude, they're the weirdest thing. And dude, he was just letting videos play for like nonstop without saying anything. Just like, yeah, see, we was kings. We will like it's like watching a Kobe Bryant video. There's no like pausing, commentary, nothing. It was just like a Kobe Bryant video playing for like 30 minutes straight. See, if you watch that, that's how you know we was kings. And I'm just like, dude, what the fuck? What kind of channel is this, man? I'm stopping myself before I curse. I'm trying to be good, MD.
yeah.
What kind of video is this, dude?
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I mean, Toxic Angel, I see you backstage, but there's not really much we can do. Unless we see something different. I mean, like I said before,
I'm voting troll.
Yeah, he can always type in the chat, and the fact that he hasn't, maybe Koala, one of them, will make an account for him and maybe act like it's him in the chat. I mean, I don't know. I mean, these guys, the fact that we have people trolling us, it really
that's the main issue.
Maybe one of our trolls
That's
can
the main
make an
issue.
account and then type
I
in this
think if
super
you
chat
really
long
wanna
enough to
be a
think they're a
part-
regular listener. Dude, this is ridiculous how much dedication your trolls have, MD. I don't know why you stir up so much hate among the zombies. Like, get this dude, he's talking about real stuff. Just get him. 28 days later, they're rabid.
No, you're right. The mind. What were you saying?
I was saying the other guy, yeah, if he really wants to like contribute, he could just like because of the fact that there are so many trolls, right? And it's hard to determine who's who. Just stay in the chat, make some comments, and then once some trust is built.
Well, this is the funny thing.
You hear that stuff, mate?
Well, this is the
You
funny
hear that, Koala? You hear that? You hear that, Agent Jose?
Like self-made, yeah, he needs to hear this. And it doesn't matter. Like most of us have been outside of the US, but the fact that you automatically go to the mind seeming less paranoid, saying I'm with them, right? I mean, we don't know. I am not going to get on my knees. A troll should be somewhat obvious. Well, we're not asking you to get on your knees. We're definitely not asking you that. The topic was how to wake up from the Matrix pod.
And we asked you to give one example of what you're talking about, and you couldn't do it. So, I mean, sound like a troll to me.
The big thing that comes up is, and this is the second time. So we saw it with Jose Cell, and then we saw it with Toxic Angel Cell, saying, "Oh, I have so many examples," and it's like when you ask them, "Okay, give me one," and they can't. We're seeing now in real life discussion with people, conversation, that it's a good way to find out when somebody is either delusional or maybe they just can't think of it. But how does that look? How does that look when somebody?
He's a troll, man. He was being coached. As soon as he started saying those things, I'll learn about our history. I've been to archaeology sideways. Dude, he was being coached by someone. I don't know who, but definitely one of our regular trolls, like Koala, Self-Made, and possibly Agent Jose. I mean, he was definitely being coached. He was definitely a troll. And Toxic Angel, in my book, man, his name's gonna be Indiana Troll. Why are you breaking? Are you saying you're Indiana Jones? That was a great question, MD.
I would like to try to answer the question.
Yeah, he says 9-Inch Nail dude tries to make it into mainstream, but the song right where it belongs is true mastery. I don't understand it. Yeah, we need GPS in the sea container. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. It just I mean, I don't know, man. Yeah, yo.
Okay. Do you mind if I answer the question, MD?
Yeah, please do.
Okay, so how do you wake up from the Matrix pod? I would think the first thing is you got to realize you're like in the Matrix, right?
Mm-hmm.
That would be the first thing.
Yeah.
And then after that, I mean, I think it's kind of hard. If you even think about the movie, everybody woke up differently. Everyone didn't, like, one guy in the Animatrix jumped off a building and he woke up in the Matrix. Other people, Neo himself, ate a pill and then went through a mirror, which was like a portal to the real world. So everyone's experience of waking up
And the
out of
agents tried to like seal his mouth shut when he was like trying to run away from the agents. All of a sudden, his mouth started forming shut, and that's when I
there
knew,
was a
like, man, this
parasite
cannot
inside
be
of him,
reality.
and there was a parasite that was
Oh,
tracking
the
him and
insects
shit.
crawling out of his mouth.
So,
Yeah. Yep.
yeah, so I think that's like some kind of metaphor for the fact that
You need to
once
go through some trauma.
well, I mean, the way different people wake up to the fact, or transition into the awakening. The awakening process, I think, is different for everyone. Like, that's it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, that's all I got.
Yeah. Toxic. And why would you call yourself Toxic Angel? That's his perspective is subjective, and then there's subjective.
Yeah, Indiana Troll. That's a
I
toxic
just,
angle. Gonna be in my book.
but the mind has a good point. First things first, you have to become aware, and becoming aware of something in that sense is not really learning. It could be looked at as learning something new, but if we really analyze it, it's losing the illusion of what you thought to be true.
Or for me personally, I want to
I
answer the
agree.
question too. I like it, the mind. I like how you started this off, man. Like, one, you got to realize you're in the matrix, and I don't know if you remember, like, when you realize you're in the matrix. For me, my first experience was when I was a kid in the mall, in the store, and they got those magazines of the celebrities, like, oh, this celebrity divorced this celebrity, or like, oh, this one's getting married. They're like, I was like, dude, who cares, man? There's regular people, like, and adults would be so concerned with them, be talking about everything like that. They'd be obsessed with celebrities. I thought that was just very strange when I was a little kid. And then the biggest one for me, when I was in 7th grade, we could do a report, anything we wanted. I chose the pyramids because we just briefly touch on them. We just know they're there, but we don't really ever do much research on them. So I did a whole report because we had to give a presentation to the class on our report. And I was saying, like, all these things, people did on such stupid things, man, like such zombie brain dead things. Give a report on the pyramids and like all the facts about them. And I was not allowed to finish my report because the teacher was saying, no, this can't be real. No, this can't be true. I said, hey, I verified it with at least 3 sources. I cited my sources right here. These are all facts right here. And she said, no, this can't be true. She told me to sit down. I was not allowed to finish my report. And most people in the class were just thought, like, oh, whatever, they didn't care. There was like maybe 1 or 2 kids that were interested. And I just thought, wow, even the teacher doesn't even want to learn about this truth because it's eerie and it's creepy and it starts waking you up. And the teacher shut me down. The zombie, no, crabs in a bucket, zombies stay in the pod. That was my kind of big. I still remember to this day, man.
If we look at it today, we start to realize that she's just waiting for a paycheck. There is no caring about your report. It's like, listen, she's looking at, all right, how fast to get rid of these guys to get to next year's class, or to know whether or not she's teaching summer school. And when
she didn't care. She was definitely just there for the paycheck. But everyone else was allowed to finish the report except for me. I'm just like, oh, okay. Well, like, wow.
Whenever you show a teacher that you know something that they don't know, now you start to see whether that teacher is egotistical or if they're an actual teacher.
Right. Yeah. Another thing was so this guy, it was one of my dad's friends growing up, and he started his own business, man. He became a millionaire, was crushed by divorce, lost almost everything, had to restart in life. And he said, man, if they could, they would do it. If they can't, those who can do. Those who can't, teach. He said, ask a teacher what they think about that. I asked a couple of my teachers, and they instantly just like shut me down. They didn't answer the question. They just told me to sit down, shut up, and be quiet. And I was like, wow, there must be some truth to that statement, because these teachers were just like, they did not want to hear it. I mean, it's a fact, man. Like, I think about it when I'm walking Home Depot and I need to grab a part that I'm working on, and I try to ask them. They don't know what's going on, dude. There's no reason to even stop and talk to the employees for, hey, where's this at, or something like that. They might know because they stocked the shelves, dude, but they don't know how to work on stuff. Because if they could, they'd be making a lot more than $15 an hour or $20 an hour, working at Home Depot doing, this crap, stocking shelves and cleaning the toilets, whatever they do there. If they could work on projects, they would. You know what I mean? So that's the same thing. The same way I view teachers. If they could, they would do. If those who can do it, those who can't, teach it. And I'm just like, wow, that's such a great saying.
Okay, I gotta jump in here. I had to disagree because I think teachers. I think the act of teaching is a very I would say a sacred thing. Because
I'm not saying it's not a noble thing to try to teach the youth. I'm saying the teachers in American public schools suck. And are you trying to tell me? Are you trying to tell me? Listen, answer this question.
Wait,
answer this question though. Are you trying to tell me that you think a business major would be rather teaching than run their own successful business? I do not believe.
Let them respond to what you were saying, and then go ahead, Mind. And we got Toxic Angel on here with us. I'm just when he's ready. Go ahead.
I'll just be back in the background.
I think the act of understanding and like the exchange of information, like communication, that is a good thing. I think the ability to do that, like this thing that a student-teacher relationship, I think that is not a bad thing. I think that is a hard thing to come across, and I do think the ability to teach is a hard thing because you need to have someone who's willing to learn as well. Like you could be a really good teacher, but if you don't have a good student, you're not going to have. You can only do so much teaching.
I disagree.
Wait. All right, hold up. In the case of what his teacher did to his report, because she didn't understand it, that she didn't think that Egypt went back.
She's a bad teacher. That's not a good teacher.
Okay, so so he's agreeing with you, Jake. He's saying that.
No, I disagree with the Mind. I'll respond.
He's saying that a good teacher does different things than that. What you had wasn't a good teacher, which makes sense. You didn't have a good teacher. None of us. I didn't have good teachers. I mean,
here's what I think, man. Because the people who taught me in the trades growing up stand out my mind. Because most people don't want to teach you because they're worried about job security, right? Other people, they want to pass on their knowledge because they're not worried. They know they're good at their job. They know their job well enough that they're able to teach to other people, and they don't mind teaching you. They don't mind being patient. So finding a good teacher is a rare thing, and someone who's willing to teach you that actually knows how to do it is a rare thing to find too. Because the thing is, I've always been a hard worker, and I've always been open to learning, and I've been respectful, and I don't mind doing the grunt work that they don't want to do. If they teach me the technical stuff that they learn, or the better way to do things, a faster, more efficient way to do things, that still is a good way to do the job. Not cutting corners, but the faster and efficient way to do things. Those are rare people that in my life. I have a couple or few good teachers in the trades growing up, but they are few and far between because most people don't know their job that well. Most people are, even if they do know their job good, they might not be good teachers. Like the Mind is saying, I'm going to agree with them on that point. But the thing is, man, public school teachers are not this sacred thing. There used to be, because the thing is, public school is a newer concept. The old, teachers were the elders in whatever tribe you grew up in, right? So there used to be a saying called "it takes a village," because a lot of people are good at different things in a village. Because one person had to do this, one person had to do that, and you would learn a little bit about life and about a skill and about how to be self-sufficient from a little bit from each person in the tribe, each elder, and then that would help you become a full, well-rounded person. This public school system, man, is so corrupted and so they are limited to what they're allowed to teach. So I do not think public school teachers, 99% of them, are good teachers. I think they're.
You're talking about mentors, though, not teachers. Mentors.
Well, thank you. I think mentors are far more valuable than teachers, than public school teachers.
Fuck yeah. I got
Well,
you, bro.
stop. Look,
Okay, well, no cursing, first of all.
I just I mean, I told.
Did you flush
the
him?
fact that he said that again. It's like that's it. He's
Dang,
off.
dude, she had a good point, man. Because I am talking about mentors,
no,
not
he
teachers.
can't. Now
yeah.
I know he's a troll. The fact
He
that he
is
said
a
that,
troll. He actually
yeah,
said something
the
good
fact
there.
that
Because
he
I am
said
talking about
that,
mentors,
it's
not
like,
teachers.
yeah, it's like you got to be kidding me, man. To say it the way he said it too, it just shows me it's like this guy just you got
Yeah,
to respect.
he's a troll.
You know, we said no cursing, and that's it. You can't be on here. You know, there's no trying, man.
We're following the YouTube guidelines. We kick that person. We want the ads to keep playing, and we do not curse. Anyone curses, we kick them off. YouTube, you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, this is the thing too, and I've made the streams. Nobody should be seeing an ad while the stream is live. Now, after the stream is live, then of course the ads will pop up. So I made sure that,
hopefully you still get ads on this one.
Yeah, you know, and you know, for him, and this is where I tell people apologies don't really mean much. Verbal apologies. The only apology is changing your behavior. So
I love that thing, Indy. I knew we were going with that, man, and you have some great sayings.
Thanks, man. I mean, it's just like somebody could say, okay, I'll try not. Oh, there is no try. You ain't going to do it or you are. So the fact that try comes in, we know you're not. And that's it. You know, there's no try, you know, and it just, now we know for sure. And I think I remember this guy from a while ago. He's probably like an old troll or something. It's just sad that, see, this is the thing. You don't have much conscious streams that talk about things that we talk about. And then you get idiots that come on. Again, the laws of stupidity, man. It's relentless. It's like a zombie movie. This is the place where they get to the place and they board up the windows and doors to protect themselves. And sometimes a zombie will still get in. Sometimes they'll come, hey, we need help, you know, okay, come on in. And it's like, oh man. And then, you know, Jake and I, we gotta like put the zombie back and, you know, board back up the door.
We gotta open up the door or a window, throw him back out with his zombie buddies, and then board back up that door or window. It just,
and
man,
most of the time,
sad.
the sad thing is most of the time you can't get them out. We were smart enough to detect it. And again, see, the fact that it's great because people can watch this and say, oh, so they're very open, forgiving, you know, by letting them get back on. And then I see now you get to a point where they start coping. Now he's saying cursing ads, emphasis. So it's not the fact that you have to respect the stream's rules, the guidelines. There's no cursing. So if you think it adds emphasis, I'm pretty sure you can find a stream where they feel that way. But we don't feel that way here. You know, if I had a website, yeah, you could say what you want.
If I had a bar of soap, I'd shove it in his mouth and then kick him out the door and board it back up.
Yeah, we don't want to suggest anything. You know, again,
I was just making a Christmas Story reference. I was not saying any acts of violence or anything like that or making threats. It was just a Christmas Story funny reference.
Yeah, and also it teaches people how to have a stream without cursing or the N-word or slurs. We don't want the B word or the H, you know, and people say, oh, well, those aren't really curses, you know, and it's like, really? Well, try them out on somebody else's stream then.
Yeah, no N-bombs. Sometimes black guys like to just drop N-bombs. They think they're allowed. It's like, no slurs.
The sad thing is you'll have some people that come on thinking they just have the right to say that. And it's like, well, not here. And we're saying it in a respectful way. We're not saying like, hey, man, you know, you're an idiot or something. We're just saying, look, man, we allowed you to come on and you broke the rules. So
we're trying to grow the stream, and you know, YouTube won't let us do that if there's certain things that are said. So we got to abide by the YouTube guidelines.
Exactly.
So the stream can grow. We can reach more people.
It's like he is still in the pod. You know, he's still in the pod. It just again, how to wake up from the pod. How to wake up.
I got the next step. How to wake up from the pod. The complete rejection of the system.
That's part of it. That's definitely part of it, man. And you're so right when you were saying
that's good, man. I like your steps.
Yeah, it really the mind is coming out with it. Why those said, MD, I've said this before, but growing up watching Dale from King of the Hill being a cuck and making it a long running joke was so weird. Wow. I never really watched the whole thing of that King of the Hill.
I watched it all.
But wow.
Wow. Yeah, I never really noticed that till you said that. But yeah, that's some brainwashing right there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that show was like that was the guy that made Beavis and Butthead, who also made Idiocracy. And he said when he produced Idiocracy, they didn't let it release, I think, for a few years because he tricked, it seems, if anybody watches the interviews or the documentaries about it, he got, I think it was Costco or companies like that to invest in the movie. And then when they found out that the movie was about making like jokes about them, they didn't want to have it played, but they had already invested. So the most they could do, I think, if I remember correctly, was delay the movie. It kind of like with Revolver that came out in the UK in 2005. They delayed it in the US till 2008. And even when they did play it in the US, they only played it in like 18 theaters when it first debuted. And the movie,
Interesting. Wow.
and that movie talks a lot about the ego. It talks about your ego is the biggest enemy to you. And where is the best place for your biggest enemy to hide? It's right in your head. You'll never suspect it.
Man, I love that. That's great. I always say, man, the worst enemy looks at you in the mirror every day. Your biggest enemy, man, the one holding you back the most is the one staring at you right in the face when you look in the mirror.
Yeah, it's part of that psyche that we have the control. It's part of something that is controlling, that is in partial control of what you're looking at. You're saying, hey, there's a part of me, or there's something in me, that ego that's always there to try to mess things up, to try to say, hey, you should be egotistical. And that, when you think about it, in itself is an oxymoron, because you start to see that the ego, it doesn't do good. We can only move forward is if we leave that behind, is to say, okay, let me shrink the ego, let me keep the ego at bay. Now I can learn, especially people with degrees and stuff like that. When people have,
Yeah, ego is part of
Yeah,
pride,
yeah,
and pride is
that's
the biggest sin because pride comes
that,
before the fall.
and that's what I was gonna say too. A good teacher, will be willing to learn from their students, because in reality, it is true. They say like the children of the future, the old people look to the next generation for the new ideas and stuff. Like the actual innovators and the ones who want to learn, they look to the next generation, and they're not stuck in that kind of dogmatic, low. I don't know where the best way of
Yeah,
saying it.
yeah, it's the best
Kind
best
of
way to put
dumb.
it, because the old people have the experience. They know what works, what doesn't. They know they typically have the money and they have the resources and influence. And the new people will have the new ideas. So it's great when they team up, when an older person is willing to listen to the younger person, and there's certain they kind of know, like if they're wise. Hey, this idea we might be able to make work. That might be a good idea, but I don't see it going mainstream. So let's kind of can that one for right now until we're ready for that idea. And then it's great when older people with wisdom team up with younger people who are more innovative.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
just an issue when we live in a society where everything is based off of I need to gain. It's all about profit, and knowledge is power, right? So a lot of times, I think it's messed up. Like I think it's a crime against humanity to make this intellectual property rights thing happen, where there's like scientific discoveries, but because it's like a patent technology or something, a whole corporation gets to hide,
You know what
scientific
they typically
knowledge.
do? You know what they typically do is a big corporation will buy it and then refuse. They'll buy the rights to it. Let's just say, like, if someone invented a car powered by water, doesn't got to be distilled water, just regular tap water, melting snow, anything, and then that car is supposedly very efficient in how many miles to the gallon it can get on just water, and then a big company buys the rights, buys the patent, and then refuses to release it. It would be a crime against humanity if that happened, and some people would say it does happen.
Yeah. I yeah, go ahead, mind. You had something?
No, I just said, yeah.
All right. I looked up some more stuff on the rat study with the experiment on hope with them swimming. And I was asking, why not the human hand? I mean, why not the plank? And it says that, it was saying here that, that the reason, uh, that the platforms weren't used, why the human hand was critical, basically, to Richter, the doctor that did the thing, was that he used human hands. His goal was to eliminate hopelessness through a perceived outside savior. So now that's okay. But why wouldn't they continue another side of the experiment with something that's perceived as an outside savior that doesn't come in with a hand?
I like that because it could have been luck, right? And that would luck create as much hope as a human hand? And it makes you wonder if the mice were smart enough to understand that the humans might have a emotional side to them that they were banking on, and that's what made them tread water for so much longer. You know what I mean? They know that a stick does not have the emotions like a robot wouldn't, but the humans, maybe the mice were banking on the human emotions.
Well, also, it could be a third factor of maybe the presence of the stick coming out or being a pairing for them to save them can also be perceived as how if we found money or something happened and we say, wow, look at that. Look at how that happened. Could it be something else, or could it just be that the stick came out? Now, all of this is taking scientific methods. See, so a real scientist, a real person looking for that would say, yeah, we need to continue this in so many different areas for different time spans.
Oh, go ahead. Let's get the super chat. But I have something to add to the experiment too.
Yeah, Knowledge Seeker of Truth. Thank you, brother, for the support. Knowledge Seeker of Truth says, is The Matrix truly the most BP movie of all time?
I think so. It's got my vote.
Yeah, it's up there. I mean, this is the reason why I've been analyzing it too. It's like, it is up there. I would say without a doubt, it's top 3. It's in there. Unless we find other ones and go through them and say, wow, this movie really presented a lot, which there are some. There are some. Yeah, I would say right now, I put a poll in the private, in the community post. People have voted on it. I think The Matrix is still in the lead. No, actually, it's not. I think it's They Live, actually. People think They Live was more making people more aware than The Matrix. And I think The Matrix used to be in second, but it fell to third. I think now people have voted the order of the 4 movies that were in there, which are They Live, the Truman Show, The Matrix, and Soylent Green. So, and that's the order in which people voted. So yeah, I would say it is subjective to the person, to say, but there's so much stuff in The Matrix that's BP, that's aware. So right now it has, I would say, the most BP moments to go back on. Without a doubt, Agent Smith is one of the most BP characters ever, that in any movie so far. But we'll continue to look through, and it might go into something else. You're right, Knowledge Seeker of Truth. Thank you. It might go back. It might go back a little deeper. MAGA Mike is back. Been lurking on this in this stream. Man, you guys are hilarious to listen to. I'm a conspiracy as y'all, but not as delusional. Yeah, that's what most delusional people think, MAGA. With a name like MAGA Mike, we already know the level of delusion you're at. It's like that level where you see the ostrich putting the head in the sand. You might be beyond that a little.
You know what's funny? That this whole MAGA crowd, this dude named Charlie got deleted, and they thought his wife was going to come in and be the savior and be the next one to lead it. Then all of a sudden she went on stage with a whole bunch of, there's a bunch of fireworks and things like that coming out, and just 3 months after her husband was deleted, and she showed basically no remorse, like she's doing fine, she's smiling, and then talking about political stuff, and it's like, you
Mhm.
didn't care that your husband was deleted? Were you a plant the whole time? Were you? So it's very interesting that some people would think that. You know what I mean?
Yes. And then also, you think about the fact that Trump never served time in the military because MAGA Mike is like basically supporting or worshiping someone to a point where it's like, okay, so this guy, right, who, a lot of people they'll say stuff about people of color for being felons, but they have nothing to say about this guy being a convicted felon. And worse than that, not even getting a penalty or fine for it. Then he's the type of guy that complains. He's always talking about immigrants. Yet, if it wasn't for immigrants, Trump would have no wives. He would have never had a wife or a second wife. That's only possible because of immigrants. What really American women are going to want to sleep with him beside people like Stormy Daniels and stuff? And then to find out that he tried to pay her off, you know and of course we don't support anything political because you have to be a zombie, a political zombie, right, to support politics. That's what politics is about. And I think MAGA Mike doesn't really know how deep the political zombie stuff goes. Yeah, I don't think he's a bot. Yeah. I don't think he's a bot. I'm not sure because he came on and stuff. Uh, yeah, and it
MD,
just
MD, I just want to say I really do appreciate that I could find someone that can talk about politics without directly we can directly talk about politics without getting into the whole like brainwashing, zombification aspect of it,
Mhm.
because it does turn into this thing where people get like they start circling and they start getting stuck in a loop and sound like politics. Like, y'all gonna start talking about it.
Talking
I'm
about
not
like
gonna
an
do it.
echo chamber.
Yeah, no, yeah, like an echo chamber. I think this
Yeah,
video here shows a little bit about politics. Just want to see if this is the
It
one.
it doesn't
begins
matter.
with family.
That's not the one. I'll find the other one that I made.
The zombie spectrum contains 8 main
It doesn't
categories,
matter if it's
all of which are meant to control the mind of someone who is unaware. Today, we'll focus on the 7th category, which is politics. Only those who can see through the illusion will notice how politicians transform while speaking to other zombies. But most of the time, they'll be able to contain it and regain their composure without losing support from their zombies. This type of behavior can be seen taking place on both sides. Whether it's red or blue, the zombie always slips out.
Ask not what America will do for you.
The population of voters don't care because they're just as zombified as the creature they worship that lurks behind the podium. Once it regains composure, it's business as usual, and the parade continues to drain the intelligence of anyone who believes them.
Which we bring to this endeavor will light our country and all who serve.
Then, the political zombies will search to infect others that still have the ability to think, but logic and reason will make them retreat. This forces them to break character and reveal themselves for what they really are.
Now that's just a minute and a half into the zombie video. I have the full video is in the video section. And the thing is that when we know we're not going to get through to all the zombies. So when the zombies come in and like MAGA Mike, you are a political zombie. Now you might be aware in some other part of the zombie spectrum that I showed. It has 8 main categories. And Falcon Akbar. I mean, what the heck is this Akbar stuff? So if I don't know who you're talking about, but I doubt you're talking about us. So that's irrelevant. We all have a little bit of zombie in us. And the biggest zombies are the ones who say they're not zombified. So if you can't admit to having that, then you're a super zombie. And we all will have bits of us in of the zombie spectrum from different parts. Friends and family, most of our friends and family are zombies. Food, we all have a little bit of junk food zombie in us. We all eat something that is zombie food that we should not be eating, but that's the part. School, we're still fighting off of this. We're fighting the schoolhouse zombie, the memories, the torture, the trauma that some of us went through in school. Medicine, we already saw what happened with the magic potion, how people turned on each other. Politics, boom, in the chat, we see political zombies right there, and religious zombies. Now, these religious zombies and these political zombies and stuff, it all goes into deeper categories like this one. So we go from the main categories in the zombie spectrum to the subcategories, and like religion, politics, medicine, as you go from the right to the left or the left to the right, you see the categories. Say media in the yellow, right? Media, movies, music, television, and those go even deeper into subdivisions. So media is the category, the subcategories, music, movies, television, and then the subdivisions. And then it goes deeper into other divisions of that, because the type of drama movie, the type of romance or comedy, the type of music, whether it be rap or rock or pop, and then that goes into genres: heavy metal, death metal, hard rock, soft rock, light rock, pop, synth pop, techno, country, different types, rap, drill rap, all these other types. So we see that the zombie spectrum goes deep. And school is part of the zombie machine. So that's where I think you might not be seeing the whole thing, Falcon Akbar, that school is part of the zombie machine. Those other 7 categories, family and friends and food and the media, school, of course, politics, medicine, and religion, those are also, all of that together is part of the zombie machine. They make up this thing called the zombie machine, which, breaking it down into categories, allows us to see which part is affecting us the most, so we can work on ourselves and say, hey, you know what? This part, yeah, I drink a little coffee. Sometimes I'll eat some bread. And somebody said, whoa, there's nothing wrong with bread. Well, bread isn't the best thing to eat. I mean, if I'm going to eat a chicken cutlet sandwich, right, and I'm eating it on bread, yeah, it tastes good. If you're putting in some, hummus or mayonnaise or some type of thing on the bread to get it from not being as chalky, but it's much better to eat that chicken cutlet without bread. I mean, it's already breaded. Even if it's a tender type, the grilled chicken without the bread crumbs on it, it's better to eat it without that. Eggs, I like eating eggs with 2 slices of bread, but you know something? It tastes just as good, or maybe not as good as the bread eggs, but when you eat 2 eggs on a plate, and maybe if you fry it with, some onions or garlic or something, but just the 2 eggs on a plate with some tomatoes or avocado or something like that is really good, and it eliminates the bread. So knowing that I'm a bread zombie and that I still have part coffee zombie is at least allowing me to look through the spectrum and say, okay, the majority, 80% at the least of my family and friends are zombie. And then I have a few friends that are aware to many things. They're aware. And you know what else? Public schools, you're saying, produce idiots. You know what else produces idiots? Private schools as well. So just remember that one. So it's easy for us to know the obvious. Public schools, not only, it doesn't really produce idiots. What it does is it kind of mentally tortures the students, which can result in that, because it is part of the zombie machine. But what else is mixed into public schooling? The food zombies. I mean, the stuff that they serve to is I mean, it's horrible when you look at school lunch and all of that stuff. I mean, it's just straight like, it's like, man, this is what
And the sports zombies.
What did you say? Sports zombie? I guess your thing broke up a little.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's something with it's breaking up. I don't know, with your mic again. Christopher, good to see you, man. He says self-reflection is zombie detection. Exactly. Exactly, bro. It really is. I mean, you don't want to put your kids in public. You really don't want to even put them in private. Private might be a little bit better, but the best thing you can do, if you got the money to pay for that, I think a private tutor is the best. And they'll say, "Oh, well, how's your kid gonna that's cool, brother. You know, you're always welcome to come on, bro. You know what's up. It's always a pleasure having you on. You know, when the public school system is brutal. The private school system, people have said, is brutal too. But then you have a system of schooling that we don't even see. And these are the schools that they send kids to that run society. You know, you have people also that go to college that drop out and they become extremely successful. Now, I don't know if that success is by somebody pulling them up into the crew. We see that with Elon Musk when he tried to say that, oh, he was, you know, he tried to complain about his childhood, and his father shattered that by telling people, look, he went to school in a Rolls Royce, from what I've heard. So again, you already know they'll rewrite things. I think they're already rewriting the January 6th thing that happened. They'll say that they're rewriting that, you know, and so they're, you know, that's the thing. When you see that January 6th was not just Republicans, but it was both Republican and Democrat. But the fact was, it was people that try to act like laws should be obeyed while breaking laws. Kind of sounds like religion, politics, and all these other things that we see are meant to zombify people. It just, everything is not a zombie. Now, everyone is not a zombie, MAGA Mike. Just you, man. We know for sure the fact that you got the name MAGA Mike, right, is the fact that that's like saying you have zombie printed on your forehead, MAGA zombie. Remember, without red hat, what does red hat spell? Those two words, red hat. Let's put the word hat in front of the word red and put it together. You know what that spells? Hatred. Now, I'm not saying that every MAGA person is a hateful person full of hatred, but the majority seem to be. When we look at what they say, the level of stupidity is almost inhuman when you ask people certain questions. It brings in to reality the laws of stupidity. Like the fact that you are, you know, thinking I'm dodging January 6th when I just told you about it. That, yeah, okay, somebody was behind it, right? Yes, somebody else, undercovers, whatever. When you look at the people that supported that, they were on both sides. They were on both sides. So that's where your thoughts don't go into the fact that it can be you too. It can be both sides. And I'm not saying your red hats mean hatred. I'm saying if you put the word hat in front of red, it spells hatred. Don't you find that funny? Not if you don't think. If you don't think, it's normal. It's patriotic. Of course, you're gonna look at that as an attack on your so-called savior. When you look at the background of any president, including Trump, it's not too clean. It's not too clean. And if you look at the maturity level, you start to say, oh, this guy is immature. Because a mature leader would not try to get people to be stirred up in turmoil. The only person that does that is a tyrant in disguise, trying to keep people at each other's throats so they can be controlled easier. Yeah, and this is hilarious because the fact that you think I voted shows me the level. You just keep sinking deeper and deeper into your own excuses, scraping the side of the pool, drowning in your own excuses. Because I've said on here, I'm a United States veteran and I've never voted. So I was aware even when I was carrying the M16 and the M60 and the M203 grenade launcher, and when I was signed for the 50 caliber. You see, Jake's a veteran too. So MAGA Mike claiming that you're a veteran, that ain't no big thing to us. That ain't no big thing. It's like you ain't nothing to us just being a veteran, because we're veterans too. We're veterans too. Matter of fact, Jamal's a veteran too. And he was in a serious part of the United States military, which everybody tries to get into, but not all of us could, which is the Air Force, And I would think, MAGA Mike, that you were Marine or Army. I mean, I don't think you're cadet material, but you could be. You could be. And I don't need to say that. I don't need to. And you kind of see, this is the funny thing. The real cowardice, Mike, is what you're saying, is the fact that you haven't grown a pair to realize that another man is worthy of your worship. So as you continue on your knees through life, right, worshiping a guy who's basically, what was he in trouble for? Grape or something like that. So we know. I mean, there's great videos out about the people interviewing the MAGA protesters. And I'm not saying that Democratic protesters are good or their voters, whatever, their rallies that they have. I mean, they're both, like I said before, you're just in the right wing of the asylum. The other ones are on the left side of the asylum. That's the only difference. And he might be, you might be right. He sounds like somebody we booted. Yeah. He's been beaten down by life too. And this is another thing. When you see somebody that is a supporter of a political opponent, it kind of says without saying that there's a gaping hole inside of them that was never filled. They've been waiting for daddy to come home for 30 or 40 years. And they look for a surrogate, kind of like a parasite, like a tick used to suck blood off somebody's leg. These people look for that. And that's what they get for their political candidate. You look at somebody who basically Democrat or Republican, right? So that's like saying, okay, are you an idiot or an imbecile? Which one? And like, well, oh man, MAGA Mike's like, he's a proud imbecile, quick to call somebody else an idiot. And then the Democrats on the idiot side will they're proud idiots, but they're not an imbecile like those other people, right? Both on different sides of the asylum. And as soon as you question one of them, this is what we've learned from streams like this, is that they come out with this zombie behavior. If they're a red zombie like Mike, they'll say, you're blue, you're a Democrat, not even knowing the level of awareness that we are at with voting. I mean, with voting, it's like, and I'll tell you what, Mike, and it's funny how you want to know my MOS, right? The military optional skill. You need to call up this number, 1-800-WAA, WAAA. And maybe there's somebody there that cares. Maybe there's somebody there that cares, man. And again, good luck in finding Dad if you know who he is, and maybe he'll help you. I hope seriously that you do find it, because that's a psychological assessment I've noticed from people who troll. For some reason, they're looking for a surrogate, especially the fact that the fact that when they take a political opponent seriously, when they take a political opponent seriously, it's just like, wow. It really, yeah, same devils at different levels. Thank you, Christopher. Exactly. Exactly, man. This is again, it shows that people are in it's not an opinion, basically. That's the thing, Mike. That's the thing. It's not a different opinion. It's the fact that we're explaining what you're doing. So that's not an opinion. We're describing your behavior. That's not an opinion. And this is embarrassing that I have to teach you this. If you think you're a full-grown man, maybe you're a full-grown male, but you have not matured into manhood. Part of maturing into manhood is being mature, right? It's about maturity. And you must further your learning every day. Don't just sit there like a potato and start following the guy that is in office. I mean, you look at it, it's just like, why? Oh man, you need so much help. The fact that you said, look at the news. Oh my goodness. Did he actually say this? Look at the news. Oh my goodness. So I guess the news but wait a minute, deported more criminals. Isn't he a criminal? A criminal is a felon, right, Mike? But Trump is like a 30-time felon? Oh, this is a good one. This is a good one. So is he going to deport himself? Right? And he's building a wall for our safety. Oh my goodness. So the wall couldn't be meant to keep people in, right? Nah, couldn't be that, right? Couldn't be that. Mike's too smart for that. He's too smart for that. But again, is he too smart for that? Or is he chilling in the pod? Is he chilling? This might be Mike. Mike might be right here in the pod talking to us, hooked up. And now he got up and he's looking. Is this you, Mike? Is this you? But you'll probably lay back down into the pod and just go back to sleep, after you're done trolling, This is, I'm just letting you know. I'm just letting you know, bro. It's like we do these streams for people, and it's, we know zombies are going to come by, we know zombies are going to come by, and that's okay. That's okay. Because whenever you're thinking, just like in a zombie movie, right? Just like in a zombie movie, whenever you're thinking, that it attracts the zombies. That's what might have attracted you here. Red Blur, my brother, he said, it's over for Mike Sells. That's hilarious, bro. That is hilarious. Yeah, Mike Sell. Yeah, Mike Sell is like, yeah, this is, yeah. He's definitely, this is, yeah, proud to, yeah, he is so pod. He is so pod. He's fighting. It's like he's fighting us from the pod. See, this is a person, Mike would be on the level of Cypher if we decided to wake him up. He would be dangerous. Even though we wake him up, we rescue him, he's going to be so angry. He's going to say what Cypher said. He's going to say he would rather take, he wish he would have took the blue pill, right? Didn't he say that? And just like a lot of these trolls do, they'll say, oh, you're saying, I know what you're saying. Why didn't I take the blue pill? No, well, what do you mean? You no, Cypher's the one that feels that way. Neo didn't feel, oh, he should have took the blue pill. He's adjusting, saying, whoa, this is a trip. This is a trip. I mean, it just, when I look at the fact that a guy worships another guy, that basically all of the presidents are basically like hiding. Yeah, he really, yeah, he doesn't know where he's at. Yeah, he doesn't know where he's at, Ashar. He just, and it's cool. It's cool because other streams, I've noticed, they just don't know how to deal with people in general. A lot of them are fronting like there's some type of host. And this goes into people with channels with over 1 million subscribers. They'll sit there. Some of them, even guys with 10 million or more, that Penguin ZO guy, he talks to the camera, but that's all he can really do. He doesn't really understand the hosting process. He doesn't understand hosting really is one part, but being able to have a constructive conversation with people and to be knowledgeable about enough subjects to go in different areas. If somebody decides to talk about something, you know enough. We don't see this with even guys like with big channels. We see them there, and what do we see? Two people talking. It's like perfect for a population of zombies. And you can say, well, why don't they ask this question? Why? Because it's all staged. It's not about learning. It's about keeping you zombified. Joe Rogan podcast, totally orchestrated. When he was unorchestrated, right? They must have paid him a visit. They said, look, you're going to flip the strip. We're going to have big people come on here. If not, who knows what they might have told him if he didn't do that. But the fact is, we do see that it is staged. And the majority of those things that when people talk, it's scripted. I mean, the fact that Trump wanted to get on there, I mean, it tells you this is all about influence somebody. It's all about influencing them. Amazed, brother. Thank you, brother, for the support. He says, Saturday Night Live. You know it, brother, man. I appreciate it, man. Got the link pinned to the top of the chat. If you ever want to hop on, bro, you're always welcome here, man. Thank you, brother, for the support. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, we've been rocking for a while. This has been, people that know us knows that we've done streams on other topics for, it's going on 6 years now. It's been a while. It's been a while. And I understand, MAGA, you're trying to bring in, and there's limits. There's limits. So I see you trying to get close with some of that stuff that they say. A lot of people are starting to see the true face of the maggots, because the MAGA supporters, right? Wouldn't that just be proper terminology to call them maggots? So the maggots, right, that support the right side of the political spectrum, when you hear them have an interview, it lets you know that we have a serious IQ deficit throughout the whole nation. But yet they'll try to point toward other countries and other types of people and say that their IQs aren't as high as most Americans that Mike is trying to say he's part of. I mean, it just really it really makes me wonder. It's like, who are the guys making the laws? That's the way I look at it. Who didn't the guy, wasn't it Trump, Biden, and then Trump, right? And I guess they're all from your part of the camp, Mike, because Biden is you too. Just remember, the left is the right too. And both of those guys were guys that you're saying are having like losing, percentages or something. It's never was your country, man. That's one thing. Let me wake you up to that. Let me give you that. It never was your country. Just remember that. You don't know who your great grandfather is. You probably don't even know who your great grandfather is, and that's okay. But somehow you know that they built the country, right? They say people that always try to bring up ancestors are like potatoes, because the best part of them are underground. You think about that, like, wow. So are you a potato? Is the best part of you 200 years underground? So it's a fossil. So you're nothing right now. That's what nationalism does. That's what patriotism does. Patriotism, in my opinion, teaches people to hate people they don't even know, and to take pride in accomplishments that they had nothing to do with. Nothing to do with. It's you look at the average person that talks that way, and that is the response. Like, can we compare it to other responses? Yes, it is the response of spoiled children, not well-raised children, spoiled children, spoiled rotten. Matter of fact, children who are spoiled rotten will still exhibit better behavior and hope of changing the way they're acting than an adult who believes in politics. especially the right. I mean, I can't say the left is any better, because when you look at the choices that they had, I mean, to think that the choice between Kamala and Trump, it's like I said before, it's like somebody asking, I mean, it's sad, man. You know, yeah, Mike. I mean, Mike doesn't, and this is the thing, what I wonder, Mike, I'm glad you served. You should go back out there. I never said, that's the funniest thing. I never said you were a racist. See, this is beautiful, because what's hiding deep inside of you, eating part of your soul, is coming out as you typing in the chat, you're not racist. I never said you were, but it seems like that part of that invisible monster that's been eating your soul away is making you say that. Maybe there's stuff that you did that could be considered racist. Maybe you're really a good guy that's fighting the racist notions that were implanted inside of you from childhood, from friends and family who might have felt that way. And then also what this monster in office is putting into people. To think that America is being invaded, right? When you think about that, right? The guy, right? What was it? The last president, right? You're going to blame him, of course, for letting people come in, right? So that's the one. That guy looks like you too, Mike. So just remember that. So the guy that's in there now, the guy that was in there before, that's you. That's you, man. Exactly. It's not the people, it's the system. Exactly. Now, I don't know, Mike, if you can understand that. And this is hilarious. See, this is where I see, man, you really need help, bro. I'm not saying Biden is better. That's the most hilarious thing. Mr. X, what's up, bro?
Hey, just joining in, with work. It's hectic over here. So at least I see you're still rocking. I be able to catch a little bit, and
yeah, I hear you, man. Mike thinks because I called him out on being a MAGA supporter, that I'm a Democrat or something. This is hilarious.
when are they going to wake up and smell the coffee that they're all on the same team? Is soap opera for the American people.
Yeah, and he thinks, he literally is saying, tell me how Biden is better than Trump. They're both the same.
Yeah, they're on the same team, for crying out loud.
It's like, and that's the thing where a lot of these guys, he's seeing through half of it, but he's not seeing that. I mean, to have your name, to have MAGA in your name, that's like a stamp that says zombie right there. I mean,
oh yeah.
It just, I don't really know what to say to him at this point. It's actually
But
funny.
in all fairness, I mean, I got family members who are zombies too. I hear it all the time. They tell me they can't stand Trump, and I just like, okay, whatever. I just sit there listening, like, wow, I didn't know that. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to get into a debate. I don't do that. You know what I mean? That's why this is my outlet to speak freely. To open my mouth. I don't open my mouth with zombies. I don't waste my time.
I hear you. No, I definitely hear you. And it just it just I don't think, and this is a good thing, hopefully, Mike, I don't think he's gonna wake up, but see, he's at the point right now where he's saying, oh, they're on the same, he doesn't even see where they could be on the same team. He's worried about, saying, oh, well, the other side are brainwashing kids. Yeah, not Trump, though, right? Not Trump. Definitely. The guy that said he would date his daughter if she wasn't his daughter, one time when he was sitting on the lap, it's like, come on, man. It just, I tell you, it really makes you wonder. It's funny because it's on the stream where people are basically in the pods. They're in the pods. They're in the fields of pods that people are in, and sometimes they wake up. Sometimes they might see like, oh man, they're inside. They were inside of a pod. They were asleep in Fantasy Island.
Can I ask you a question, though, MD? Because it got me thinking about this. Now, I think I know your answer, but I will rebuttal it, but I'll let you give your answer first. Do you think we were more zombified in the past, or is it worse today?
I think we were definitely zombified in the past. We just
Hmm.
didn't see it. And today, the reason it's worse is because of the electronic devices that they have. Like it kind of
Hmm.
like the fact that Invasion of the Body Snatchers came up, it came out in 19, like I think 53. That says a lot. I mean, to think like, wait a second, they were using analogies like if you fall asleep, then you get replaced. So that can be taken mentally too. If you fall asleep mentally, you can get replaced. And this happens to political zombies, religious zombies, schoolhouse zombies. We see that if they're not thinking and they fall asleep, they'll wake up already replaced. Now the zombie is just walking around like an emotionless NPC. And for that movie to have come out in 53, and you start to look, it was either 53 or 56. You start to say, holy smokes. And then I think it was the next decade when Night of the Living Dead came out. So it was Night of the Living Dead after that came out. Um, and that's the funny thing. Yeah, just yeah, Mike. I hope Mike. I really don't know what to say. There's not, we're not trying to go around to wake people up too. We know that you can't wake somebody up. That person has to just, there's some catalyst that they encounter. And maybe it's a part choosing to wake up too. Because some people will open the pod and they will look around and they will close the pod again, man. They will look around, they'll look at the other pods and they'll go right back to sleep. Boom, right back in the pod to sleep. And that's where they'll stay. Most people, if you told people today, we could put you in a pod like this, right?
Hmm.
And it's a Matrix pod, and it's going to be like the movie The Matrix, and you're going to be able to live out your dreams here. We're going to hook you up, and you're just, that's it. You're going to be in the Matrix, but you're going to be whatever you want to be. You can, you're going to have knowledge. You're not going to go to sleep and think, oh, it's the real world. You're going to be like, oh, I know something that these other people don't know. I can jump over buildings. I can do this. They would jump in this pod and they would stay there for however many years they have and just eventually get flushed. They will take that over what we see today. They will be more than happy to take that, because when you come out of this pod and you see what we're really in, it really takes courage. It takes courage to say, oh man, this is what it's about. I mean, I can understand people wanting to go back or to live something like that. I don't agree with it, but at least I can comprehend why they might want to do it.
Yeah, and if I can just comment on why you think, what maybe play devil advocate. Not that I'm so
Mhm.
certain it, but it just feels like we were a little more zombified in the past. And this is talking about before we were born. Because you look at the Vietnam War, it was based on the Gulf of Tonkin incident, which was a complete fraud, never happened. That's declassified information. And guys were signing up for a war that they legitimately could die, certainly get injured. And of course, the post-traumatic stress is off the wall.
Wow.
But you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Um,
Did they debunk? They debunked that it happened or it didn't happen?
yeah, I believe it's totally debunked. It never happened. The Gulf of
Okay.
Tonkin
So that's
incident.
the one they said happened to get them into the Vietnam War or something?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
so Jesse was lying because Jesse Ventura was preaching that, right? A lot.
No, no, yeah, he was preaching that it was fake. It was fake. It never
Oh,
happened.
okay, that they
Yeah.
orchestrated it to get. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
you had guys
Mhm.
signing up, believing in America, believing in the war.
Oh, I saw people doing that in 9/11.
Hmm.
They were signing up at the airport, like shipping off. And I was like, well,
Hmm.
what are you guys, what are you doing? And they were like, oh, we're going to war. And I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I was like, wow,
But that
people are,
Vietnam War is so much worse though, because of
oh man,
obviously because of technology. I mean, back then it was hardcore. You're good chance you're gonna die or get injured. I mean, it was just so more devastating to the American people than the other
yeah.
wars. Yeah,
I
yeah.
yeah, I talked with an older guy the other day that was during that era,
Mhm.
and he told me, matter of fact, he he was right around that age, so I don't think he got called. And he told me, he goes, man, there were protests every day.
Right.
He was like, man, it was crazy. He was telling me, he goes, people were fighting against it and all of this stuff, and they passed laws, they did all type of stuff, and they crushed any type of thing. The music, they were trying to brainwash people with the music, because
Yeah.
if you look back, there's a lot of Vietnam songs, and they're
Mhm.
catchy tunes.
They are. They are. They
Yeah.
are. And you know why I think they had to be more zombified back then? Because they don't need us as much as they did in the past. Now they have technology. But in the past, they really needed to zombify the public because they needed the men to actually go and fight. They
Hmm.
didn't have the technology like they do today. So maybe they don't need us as badly. Maybe just they'll zombify us for consumerism points of view, but they don't necessarily need us for war as much as in the past.
Hmm. Well, it
Um,
makes me wonder, what if the war was meant to pull that energy of death and feed something, like those lieutenants were saying, and the captains were saying that they were seeing some type of demonic entities with wings flying alongside the helicopters when they looked through the red infrared night vision.
mm,
And now every time they went on a mission, right? So it's like, okay, they're coming along because they're going to harvest whatever it is comes off of the person, or what is created after there's a mass ending of people during these military assaults with the helicopters. Now, I wonder, the people that are sending these soldiers, these helicopters over there, do they have a deal or some type of, or like maybe it's something that's behind these humans saying, listen, we're gonna, and the humans might not even know they're doing it because of their greed, and they're saying, look, we're gonna make sure this human gets the technology to make these weapons, and he's gonna make a ridiculous amount of money, so he's not gonna care that it has to come from firing off the weapons so they could buy more, which is done in a war. And these beings are harvesting something off. It could be knowingly or it could be unknowingly. And this is just a theory, of course, to say, it is to just say, hey, this, what they're doing with these wars, because it's always a perpetual war. If we look at Vietnam, before that was, I think, Korea, but I think there were little skirmishes always in between, like even going into the late 70s, into the 80s, we had the Contras and stuff. And then the late 80s was Panama. And then the early 90s is the Gulf War. It's like they just can't get enough. It's like the level of terrorism, that all war is terrorism. And that's the thing, because they'll try to say, oh, no, it's only on the other side, right? No, we know that all war is terrorism. And that's what a lot of people don't want to admit. A lot of people can't admit that because they're too deep asleep in the pod, the matrix pod. They don't want to come out. It's comfortable and warm in the pod. And people live in what I used to call the dome of illusion, right? What cracks the dome of illusion is the hammer of truth, because sometimes the truth can come in very hard, smashing the dome of illusion many people live under. And within that dome of illusion, once it's shattered by the hammer of truth, it can allow the wind of reality to blow away the stifling clouds of ignorance that person lives with or has lived with. And sometimes when it blows away the stifling clouds of ignorance, it allows the wind of reality to set in, to where people with can say, hey, you know what, I couldn't believe it's very akin to Matrix sitting up and saying, wow, Neo sitting up in the Matrix and saying he couldn't believe he sees what Morpheus was saying is true. The feels he saw, just what Morpheus told him. I've seen the feels, and then he saw that. He saw that, and it just yeah, it kind of, that movie can be dissected so much. And then Agent Smith, Agent Jones, Agent Brown, three prominent last names from slavehold owners, from plantation owners. And then in the other movie, they have Agent Thompson, Johnson, and Jackson, three more prominent plantation owner names. It makes you wonder. And then what do the Matrix agents have? They wear suits, just like they look like corporate employees, showing the system's connection to the corporate world. So it gets really deep when we look into the whole pod matrix reality connection. If we look into where Neo was working in an office building, right? Where did he go to be woken up to meet Trinity? In an underground club, to the underground. And again, he followed the White Rabbit, just like in Alice in Wonderland. So we see that the Matrix has these tones in it, you know, and that's funny. That's funny. He doesn't see this because he is, you know, he's afflicted with whatever has controlled his mind. Scribe, what's up, bro? How's everything?
And just listen, I heard the question, what was worse, the which war and all that stuff. I mean, I guess for me, it just seems so much more different because, the sequence of events that led up to the 9/11 thing, where the 9/11 thing was used as a catalyst, not just to open up other wars, but to also start, handing out all the jobs to the other countries, India, China, whatever. Breaking down the moral fabric of the country itself, um, all these other things that led up to that. That's why the Tupac thing's so important as well, because it's like leading us up to this pivotal moment once we hit 2000. Massive reset at that point. So when I look back at that, it's just like, man, I mean, war is almost nothing compared to the sequence of events that happened there, because it was like a multifaceted explosion of resetting in such a powerful country like the U.S. It's been building up up until that point, where now it's under, I feel like, responsible that if you don't say anything, you lived during that time, but now you have kids and now they're growing up post 9/11 or whatever, and they don't know what's going on. You owe it to yourself to, say something, do something, but it's easy for anyone to say, "Oh, that war happened. Okay, we're in and out of that war. It was 20 years long, whatever it was." But it's different when an event happens that changes something so deep down the core that makes, because the entire world reacted to that. It wasn't just the U.S. The entire world reacted to that. It changed the entire world as far as laws and flights and Patriot Acts and this and that. And you see the retailoring of laws and everything else that should not be this crazy, but yet it has to be, because it's a new post era, a new era of I guess extra restraints, because Mr. X was asking, what were we more zombified before or now? I say now we got the ability to actually seek out this information much easier than it was back then. But at the same time, the restraints are 10 times, 100 times more prevalent now, to where even your phone or anything else can easily monitor you and all these things. So it's a double-edged situation there. So to me, it wasn't just another war or another whatever. It was literally the reset of resets, that with open eyes you could see how it's shaped, the U.S. especially. I don't even see the U.S. the same as it was at all. It's completely, to me, it's completely alien now. I mean, I don't know what it is anymore. And I had the prediction in my head. I was like, look, the Biden Trump thing, they're gonna let Biden back in, and then things are gonna kind of be smooth sailing until Trump gets back in. Then we're gonna see stuff that we've never seen before, and hopefully nothing too crazy happens. Hopefully another 9/11 or something that doesn't happen. But just the way these cards fall, we see that there is no rhyme or reason to these things. There just seems to happen on numerology seems to be a very big deal when these things take place. None of it makes sense, but yet it's happening before our eyes. It's unfolding before our eyes. It's like a bad movie. It's like that can't happen. Come on, man. That's gonna. Yep, it's happening. It's happening, and we're talking about just other stuff that has no comparability to the detriment of this. Plus, with the AI and everything else that's coming at us a billion miles an hour, and we're just like on this one way thing, and we're not getting off. We're so completely blown away by what's going on that we can't even comprehend or move off the track to do something about it. So the whole thing, the zombification of being able to believe in Democrat, Republican, all that stuff, to me, that's just like, are we still really talking about that? That is like, you know, has been well known for a long time, but yet people are still getting caught up in that. It almost seems like we're just going to we're living a completely different life or something than the masses, to have to endure this type of zombification and just witness it and see it. And at the same time, I do feel responsible living during those times, knowing these things, and now just everyone kind of just let all that stuff slide, and here we are, and we're right back into again. Oh man, is this real, bro? Didn't you see what happened now? And didn't you see what happened here? Are we really gonna go back to this again? So it is tough to have to re-endure that over and over after you've woken up so many times. And sometimes you say, you know what? Just give me the blue pill, man. I'm going back to it's like, is it really worth it now? Is it, at least if you had some support or something, it would feel a little easier or a little more, okay, I'm not going crazy here. So I don't know if you guys feel that way, but to me, it's just been too long. It just has not been any real anyone really coming out and explaining what's going on, spearheading this current situation we're in and giving us anything, any really new information. I mean, the new information I uncovered was like back in I guess 07, 08 was like the last time I was like actually looking deep into the Illuminati stuff and all that. But ever since then, it's just been like a repeat, the same shows over and over and over and over. And it just got really redundant. And I'm just like, So the only real change was the flat earth thing from there, the realm. But after that, I was just like, okay, I'm pretty much done with the research. I see what's going on here. And maybe since we've realized this now, maybe we don't have to be here anymore. I'm not saying say do something or do something yourself. I'm saying maybe we reach the end of consciousness to where it's like, okay, you graduated, but you see how all these other millions of people still need to be here, right? Because they're still caught up in the matrix. But yeah, go ahead. Long rants.
Yeah, no, it's cool, man. I don't know if Mr. X has anything he wants to say or, yeah, I mean, Ashar says, yeah, imagine acting like something is all about racism and slavery or politics or everything. Ashar, thank you, Ashar. Yeah, MAGA Mike in a clown costume on a unicycle, pancake batter on his face. Yo, this is it's hilarious, bro. Because Mike, because I said something about him being MAGA Mike, he automatically thought I voted for Biden. I mean, the zombie thing is just off the handle, man. I'm like, bro, I've never voted.
Well, you see what he says here. It's like, I'm in California. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry about that. I've seen what Democratic politics do. That's why we're fighting for this. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, Trump's going to change that, right? For the better.
It's
right.
He's yeah, exactly. So when you stay in that same frame of mind, it's so difficult to explain to someone that, look, bro, the same system, the same bird, the same thing that's affecting you now is simply the other side of the wing. The left and right wing are part of the same bird. And unfortunately, we'll have to endure this madness. I mean, MD was in New York when 9/11 happened. So it's like he couldn't take sides because he understood, look, either side is the same thing. And this is why we're in this situation in the first place, because we allow these left and right fights to go on, pretending they're real, like WWF style, Hulk Hogan versus whoever, and we think it's actually real. And we get caught up in that whole thing, and they're like, man, we got to fight harder and all that stuff. You're really fighting yourself at that point, because that's exactly where they want you. And it's not until you wake up and be like, wait a second, it's the same people doing the same stuff. That's when you start seeing more after that, because now you realize that we're so mentally powerful that they keep us in this constant fantasy land, playing around, fighting back and forth for no reason.
Yeah, it's true. Just like you think about it, it's like you can't to vote on either side, man. Red Blur says, "Give me control over a nation's currency, and I do not care who makes this noise." Laws. I think it was Ford. I think it was Henry Ford. But yeah, it's so true, Red Blur. It's so true, man. No point in voting, man. Yeah, both sides. Yeah, exactly. The natives, man. The natives are and this is funny. It's like, and MAGA, you can't be putting the TG in there all the time, all right? Because we do have parameters and guidelines, It's like, come on, bro. It's like, if anything, I don't even think Trump's wife, he or she or whatever that is, should be on that list if you think so. But again, to a MAGA,
but you see, this is what I'm talking about right here. See, because of this, but at the same time, it's like you have to realize each side is contributing. Just because one's more apparent than the other, look at what's happening now with Trump. So when you look at both sides, you're like, oh, I see. So these guys are responsible for this. These other guys are going to do this, and it's going to go back and forth. Like each one's going to contribute. Whether one looks worse than the other, they're both the same negative thing that's contributing to all of this. So it's not like, oh, he's going in there, draining the swamp. I mean, how many times have he said that? That was back in his first presidency, drain the swamp. Didn't drain nothing. What are you draining? Yourself? Because he's part of that whole system.
Yeah.
So when they say stuff like this, they're just giving you hope, and they can't drain nothing because they're working for the same exact people that work for the other guys. So again, it's just all more, it's just wordplay at that point.
Think of what he says, drain the swamp. That's just very childish. I mean, it tells you that the people he's talking to, he knows they're a bunch of idiots. He can't use anything technical or, we're going to drain the swamp. Oh, that sounds great. You know what I mean? It's a joke. It's just for laughs, honestly, at this point.
Yeah. It's all theater. It's all theater, and the clowns are the ones that just that support them. The clown. When you look at a rally, and there's a lot of people that are doing videos at these Trump rallies and talking to people about certain things, and they're basically saying that he can do no wrong. And a lot of the stuff that he uses in this push to try to make America so-called great again, it's like, really, so he's playing on some very very blatant racial overtones. I mean, they are just blatant. When you look at he was using some song, "Take Back Our Country" or something like that, and it's a well-known white nationalist song. It's a well-known, so these guys, it's like when you look at a white man who is secure, and he's okay, he's mature, so there's no problem from a white man or a black man. But when you go to a white male or a black male, that's when you see the problems, because they're not mature. So you have somebody in an adult body that's dangerous who's immature. Again, like a child with a weapon. A grown adult body is a weapon, and the ability to acquire as an adult. And this is when we see the level of activation that they could be done on. Like Mike is saying, oh, well, it was Democrats that were for the 9/11, for the January 6th thing in the White House. I'm like, no matter who you think orchestrated that, right, or whatever, the people that supported it, that's a problem that they're not acknowledging. You didn't hear people come out and say, I mean, think about it. it seems that he influenced people to do that.
Yes.
And it just, nobody wants to admit that, to say, well, they could say they voted whatever, and then say, well, when he said that, that woke me up. The fact that that didn't wake them up shows us just what level of dangerous zombie they're at.
Oh yeah, it was a zombie machine January 6th. It was a zombie machine on display. And the sad part is, do they really think overtaking the White House is going to control power? Because if they think that they're really lost in space. I mean,
Yeah.
they think that's the center of power. Like once you occupy the White House, now you can call the shots. That's sad. That's really
Crazy.
sad.
Yeah, it's really sad to think that those people are making the decisions when not even thinking it's something behind them that's telling them. Divine Hazel, good to
Exactly.
see you. Always a pleasure. Yeah, I don't know who is male and female in those offices anymore. It just
Again, again, fighting the surface level stuff. Again, you're right into the clown show. Again, it's like here's the true situation. If we were to drain this so-called swamp, majority of things that are in that we can't even discuss on these streams, and
yeah, the fact that
at
they
all. We
had to
can't even discuss
redact.
it. That's how bad it is.
Yeah, didn't they redact the Epstein files or something?
I mean, they've been on that for so long. It's just like, again, the carrot on the hook. That
No,
whole thing they always do.
But they released it, but it was redacted, like they crossed out names and stuff, I think.
Of course, just like as if it was from Roswell or from Area 51 type of stuff.
Yeah, basically. And they showed some stupid pictures too, of like.
The thing is,
nonsense.
people can't identify what's even in the swamp in the first place.
Exactly.
And that's the shocking part. That's the part that's like, okay, so if this guy is truly a savior, came in, is above all odds, and he's actually in power, and he actually sees what's going on, he's going to be doing a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with the left or the right, or just basic stuff. Okay, Federal Reserve. Again, I can't even really speak about that. Look it up, find out what that is, find out what these certain instruments are that are in place. Patriot, all these things, taxes, whatever, basic stuff that has been there and never taken out, and continually, adding in it. Oh, this is temporary, just temporary for this particular thing. Next thing you know, it's permanent. Just like the income tax, all these things that have been added and added and added and added, and there's no accountability for any of these things. Black projects, black budgets, all these things that have been easily identified, easily brought to light now, but yet people are more worried about a soccer game or some guy saying something or Trump doing whatever, or if he, hit a hole in one today. So they're more worried about that than, the actual detrimental stuff that they know neither side has control of. And it's always been there. It's never gone away. That's the source to where you need to say, okay, if anyone's going to bring this to light, then I know this person's real. That's why I know, again, the Tupac thing was real. But go ahead.
Oh, let's not go there. We can't talk about that on the internet. There's a new rule now. I don't know if you were.
Exactly. We can't even talk about that.
Yeah, I got a message from YouTube, so don't even think about talking about that.
He tried to bring it back.
Yeah, well, there's guidelines. Subscribe on that one.
Just messing around, Mr. X. Man. Come on, man.
We had Black Circle leave comments. Everybody was like, please, please. It's like the Tupac.
It'll click one day. It's okay. I mean, he was against all the odds as well, so it's okay.
Oh my goodness. I don't know what to say.
I just agree. Let's leave it at that.
It shows me the mental, the power of mental manipulation by music. It really does. It just, imagery. Like when in the 90s, I think Clintons were running and they used that Fleetwood Mac song, Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow, to brainwash the public to think that they voted them into office or that the campaign is real. And it's sort of like when you look at the controlling of the population, it's like as if they go along with it. But when you look at the fact that you got so many nutcases supporting Trump and that he didn't get in, because when he got in at first, I said, okay, every president from Clinton is going to be 8 years. Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama. Trump. So you think he's going to do. But when he was playing around, acting the role a little too much and didn't adhere to the magic potion, that's when they were like, all right, you want to play around? And they put Weekend at
No, you
Bernie's.
see, I don't believe that either. I think it went exactly how it should have gone because remember, that's why I told you that my prediction was Biden's going to come in, we're going to wait for a while, and then they're going to let Trump back in to do the real, thing, which I can't even say, but that again, it's a show. It's like, what did we see before he became president? Oh, the magic bullet, God saved him. All this miraculous insanity. He was indicted, I don't know how many times. He beat everything. He came back as Jesus Christ, the savior of the world type of thing. So they're gonna, and I even had that part as part of my prediction. They're gonna make him come back as some type of savior. All these miraculous things are gonna happen. He's gonna come back, and then you're gonna really truly see a different power management in what they call the presidency, stuff that we've never seen before. And lo and behold, here we are. So we're barely halfway through it. So I can only imagine what's going to happen here, towards the end of this term. And that's probably going to trigger something else. And we're inside the AI bubble now. So that's a whole nother concern. So people are looking over here. Meanwhile, this thing is getting to a whole different level we've never seen before.
I have a picture of the voters. This is a picture of the Democrat and the Republican voters in their pods. And the politicians pull the energy from them. So this is where, this is what is good. Anybody that's seen The Matrix will know that this is where voters live. They live in these pods, specially created for them to feel like they're in Fantasy Island and their vote matters. So that's where the voters come from. The voters are in these they're in the fields, the fields of pods, like when Morpheus told Neo about that. He goes, I've seen the fields and where they grow humans like a crop, basically. And when Neo woke up, that's when Neo saw it. Neo woke up and was like, holy smokes, that he saw that Morpheus was telling the truth. So that they say this right here is like one of the most iconic scenes in cinema history. When Neo comes out, I mean, that scene is so iconic. And even when Morpheus is talking about it, showing how people are grown, they're grown and they're put into these towers, into the fields that create the electricity to continue the Matrix to operate, and it just really makes.
Well, what do you think about if we do a little bit of the race thing? That Morpheus and the Oracle were both colored people, right? So what do you think about that? As far as
in one theory, it says that Morpheus is the black man leading the slave revolt. In some theories, and when you look at the people that are born naturally from Zion in the Matrix 1, they were both black. So, and then they had some, and I don't think this link is correct, but some people did linking to the Moors, to like Morpheus, but that is kind of incorrect in a way. When you look at before the Moors, Morpheus is the Greek god of dreams. That's where you get the word morphine from. So Morpheus is basically based on that. And what are they in the Matrix? It's as if they're in a dream. So, and if you look at their attire, it's like slave attire. So it's not saying that it's an all black slave movie, but when you look at it, has references. It had references to a lot of, I mean, the fact that all of the agents are white Caucasian males with suits that have last names that link directly to prominent plantation and slaveholders. Prominent. Agent Smith, Jones, and Brown are prominent slaveholder names. So is the other ones from the other Matrix, Jackson, Thompson, and Johnson. So this is not a coincidence. And then with the suits, it connects them to corporate possibly. Now, what it also shows us is that there's not just black slaves. There's also white slaves, Trinity, Neo, Mouse, Switch, APOC was, looked like he was Latin or Native American. Cypher was not black as well. Of course, Morpheus is black. And then when you get further into it, you start to, like you said, the Oracle is black. So maybe it's something really deep with that. The architect is white. So maybe he created the system of slavery, that which, of course, we know slavery goes back way before what we're told with the European version of slavery. The Arabic version of slavery was way worse. I mean, way worse. A lot of people don't like to talk about that. Mr. X, you had something?
Yeah, I did actually, because I remember in the movie in the Matrix, of course, we all remember when he starts out, he goes and he learns kung fu. He says, "I learned kung fu," but he learns like every different variation of kung fu. And I'm wondering if that's sort of implying that when people can go into these meditative states, that they could learn a lifetime of information in what would be maybe just a few minutes here on Earth in that meditative state. Because, he was able to learn everything, all the aspects of martial arts within just on Earth time would be just a second or two. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I don't know if they were implying that a little bit. That getaway into the Matrix, the time slows. Basically, our perception of time is
See,
different.
but it can also imply, Mr. X, that you're nothing more than AI or software, something that could be injected with a large amount of data within seconds, and you're instantly aware. That sounds like a program to me.
No, it sounds like that's what they implied in the movie, of course. But what I'm saying is, we were discussing last night about the fourth dimension and time, and how that when you go into these meditative states, you could maybe go through a lifetime of experiences in a meditative state in that matrix, in that other realm, in that fourth dimension. But here on Earth, it would only be like a few minutes. But what would seem like a lifetime in that meditative state would only be a few minutes here on Earth. You see what I'm saying? Because you're not bounded by time in that other dimension. Because I think they're implying that that matrix was another dimension, separate from Earth time.
Separate from Earth time? Why?
Meaning you could go into that other dimension and feel like you've been there for years, but in reality, you haven't.
Okay, so maybe it's draining your energy at a quicker rate than you think. So you could live
possibly.
out what all right.
But
or maybe even longer.
Yeah, the real Earth time when he was in the pod wasn't the same perception of time as it would be in the Matrix. In the Matrix, he might have gone through college, might have worked his way up in his career, and gotten a promotion, and then was single, maybe dated. But all that happened on Earth time in the pod within maybe an hour. But in his mind, in that Matrix, it was years, kind of like a dream state in a way.
Yeah.
That other dimension.
Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying. That makes, I hear what you're saying with the meditation too. The fact that we've talked on the last one that time seems to be able to be slowed and sped up, and we see the effect of that just naturally in life, saying it seemed to go way slower when we were younger, and it starts to speed up and go quicker. But the other thing is that artificial and non-artificial meditation, like you said, and stuff, could cause us to see something that goes a lot deeper, to say, oh, I can change this. I can manipulate it somehow. I can slow it. I can speed it up. Like again, like the walking on the beach analogy, and then you turn around and you say, wow, I've walked so far. So in that sense, time on Earth went much longer than time was perceived to the person walking. So they seemed like nothing went by. Meanwhile, oh my goodness, I just walked almost a mile and didn't realize until I stopped and looked back. So where was I? It didn't seem like time even existed. It was like you're flowing with it. And then there's other times where it works in the opposite, where you're doing something, you're hoping time flies, and then you look at the clock, 10 minutes went by. And you're like, oh my goodness, especially
that goes back to if you're in enjoyment, just like when you're younger, it seems longer because you're stuck in these small pockets of just complete boredom, school, detention, whatever. Whereas when you grow older, hopefully you're doing what you're doing and you like doing what you're doing. So now it seems like fun, or you have your own business, or you wake up whenever you want. You have a lot more freedom. Therefore, time just flies because now you're in this excitement mode. Just like if you're playing a video game, you're sitting there and you look at the clock. Wait a second, 3 hours. I only felt like not even 30 minutes, but your mind is like in this completely other, I guess, dimensional thing. Even though you're sitting in your chair, it's not aware of time passing here in the same way. I mean, I always thought that's insane. And then the fact that we can even go in other bodies in dreams and experience dreams that feel more real than this. That alone, that's
Right.
what's always messed with me. It's like,
Well, dreams, I think, is a form of meditation. That's how we can all relate to what is meditation. What do we mean by that? Just look at a dream that you've had. I mean, who knows how long you might have been in a dream that felt like forever, but it might have only been a minute or two in real life.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's why they're saying that, once you leave this body, it's almost like waking up from a dream type of situation to where um you can't really tell that part of that part of the dream world they're never going to tell us about, or how to even prepare ourselves to enter dream states properly. We're eating junk food, we're eating garbage, drinking, all this stuff that shuts down all these abilities. The pineal gland gets calcified, all our senses get lowered. We're nothing more than animalistic humans walking around when we're supposed to be like super spiritual, have superpowers, or what's considered superpowers, even telepathy and all these things as opposed to we used to have been just, so someone's basically saying we're being de-evolutionized, degenerated since the point to how we used to be, where they talk about we used to live for 1,000 years or whatever, and all these crazy, all this stuff that we think's
Hmm.
fantasy. But we look back in the books, it's like, wow, these guys have, there's evidence of families and these guys living for a crazy amount of time. You go to China, there's still people there that live for 2, 3, 4, 500 years, depending on what area they're in, and they have evidence of certain birth certificates and stuff where you can tell, but it's not public. So there is evidence of this stuff, but it's obviously not in the mainstream. And um, certain ways you can live to slow down the breakdown of your body and be able to, preserve yourself longer and all these things. So I mean, it's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Well, we've all had dreams, I'm sure. You and MD have both had dreams where you had a dream and then later on you see something happens, like it's almost like the dream foretells the future, and then you're in a place, it's like, wow, I had a dream about this. Have you guys experienced that?
You broke up a little bit. What was that? What was the
Okay,
question?
like you've had a dream about something, being in some place, let's say, or meeting somebody, and then later on in the future, it came true. The dream that you had came true. I don't know if have you experienced any of that, UMD?
Probably maybe a couple. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. See,
Deja
what that
vu.
might
Yeah.
be is when we're in our dream state, we're in that fourth dimensional state where we're no longer bounded by time. We can see our past, present, and future all at once. And that's why in that fourth dimensional state, we see our future sometimes in a dream. And that's why it comes true in real life, because we saw it through that fourth dimensional lens in our dream state.
Yeah, and I've done that a few times, being awake, being aware, like
Mhm.
seeing in my mind's eye first and then doing it. If it seemed impossible at first, but then in my mind's eye it's there. I was like, why not just do it and do it? And it happened. It's like, wow. Yeah, that's definitely, yeah, stuff like that. That's
I mean, have you
so it's almost
experienced
like
that
we're
also,
being
MD?
taken
Oh,
away
I'm
from
sorry.
that special ability. Good.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I've experienced that, not on a regular basis, but it's happened where I had a dream about nothing major, nothing dramatic, but just I was in some place at some time, and it's like, wait a minute, when I ended up in that place in the future, I was like, wait a minute, I had a dream about this. I had a dream. Swear I had a dream about this, you know?
I mean, an ex of mine had a crazy, scary ability of like, she's in Panama with me here, but her family's in Ecuador, and she would have a dream about her mom or something, and then she'd call her up the next day frantically, "Mom, did this happen?" And it next thing it happened. I'm like, so that's weird. So I'm thinking like, how in the world? And then she knew stuff about me that I never told her. I'm like, okay, are you looking me up or whatever? She's like, no, I just have this, ability, this feeling. but she'd also be visited by people that were off, I guess, in the past, asking her, can you help me, or can you tell this person that this happened, or like just weird stuff when she goes to bed. So she doesn't know if she's going to go some crazy dream, or if some individual or entity's going to come ask her something or whatever. So it's just, because I would date her for a while, so I know it's not like just she's just making stuff up, because I would see what happened with her mom and her family, and stuff that she told me, and stuff that happened, and so you can't make this up. I mean, there's definitely something there. So some people can have, I guess, a closer natural, I guess, receiver, medium, whatever you want to call it, that's
Sure.
able to pick up these things.
But she had it in a dream. She had it in a dream. So it was her mind probably entering that other dimension. And she could just float through time, and see things happening before they did, past, present, and future all at once. Because that would be that fourth dimension.
Mr. Do you believe that there is a past, present, future, or it's only the eternal now, and then we just perceive what we think the past is and the future will be?
We perceived, yeah, I think there's a past, present, and a future, of course.
I don't know about you. I believe in the eternal now. That all there is the eternal now, and what you think the past is or the future should be is based on your perception and your awareness at the time.
Well, I think we have free will, and we can choose our path. But at the same time, seeing it through another dimension, it's just like a painting from like our birth to our death, and you see everything that happens within an instant in that dimension. Even though we did exercise free will within that painting, it can be seen from another lens, all at once.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think, yeah,
yeah, but
it just has to do with the relativity of time. Um, It's just if you were to perceive it, through meditation or something like that, you could go through your mind or whatever you want to call it, your consciousness into that other dimension. You'd be able to see a lifetime within an instant. Um, that's what would be seen.
Yeah.
I mean, the more I think we have free choice, the more it's like it feels more like destiny. Because I can tell how many times I've like tried to force something to do something, and no matter how hard I tried to force that thing to happen, it just wouldn't budge. And then a month or two later, something just happens out of the blue, and then all of a sudden I can do it, or I get it, or I'm able to enter that path. And it's just like, are you kidding me, man? So I mean, I've wasted all that time over here trying to force myself into this situation, but then I give up, I let go, and then it comes back around, and now no effort whatsoever, I'm in. Have you had that happen before?
I probably have, but I can't really think of a time. You know what I mean? I have to think about it for a
I think the
while.
time, like, just the day would not get better, no matter how much time, how hard you tried to force that thing to get better, or whatever it is you're trying to do that day, it just did not, or it could happen for multiple days. Like, man, I try to do this, just did not work for some weird reason. Very simple, but yet just didn't work. And then all of a sudden, it just locks into place after you like just let it go for a while.
Yeah, I probably have. I'm sure I have, but it's hard to think of those times. I've had days that just nothing can go right. That's for sure. And then things just seem to get resolved on their own.
It's like I had free choice during this particular battle, and I thought it would end the war if it would have taken out the right person, whatever. But then we realized you had to fight many more battles to get to that same conclusion, or you thought would have been that conclusion, or it wasn't like that the way you originally thought. It was something else, and that led more down to like a destiny situation versus you just being able to have free choice. It'd be nice to have pure free choice and to get the outcome, but it seems like a lot of these things have been put into this destiny type of thing. You're destined to do this or whatever. And then when you ask the guy, okay, so how'd you get into this? Well, it was an accident, or it was I never thought about it. It just happened, or because you're thinking, okay, this guy's an expert in this field. He must have been doing this when he's very young. He must have, you know, by choice decided to do this full. No, it wasn't at all. It happened to be an accident. Actually, actually didn't even care about it at first. Now all of a sudden, he's the best of the best in that for whatever reason, that just took them on that path for whatever reason. No rhyme or reason.
Yeah, it definitely happens to certain people.
I'm saying you can also apply this to your life. Like the older we get, it's like we can apply certain things. We want to do certain things, but yet we're doing this now for some reason. Or, you know, I chose this, but I'm doing this. So what happened there? Was it destiny or was it choice?
Hard to say, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Ashar says information comes through sometimes. Best way to describe it is intuition. It's not really explainable. That's actually a good point. Yeah, it's actually a very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that Scribe, he placed it as his belief. So that's okay. I mean, I know that the now,
No, I never said belief of what.
you said you believe that the past doesn't exist. That's a belief, right?
No. Well, if I said that, I said it the wrong way. I said that
Okay.
the past is our perception of what we witnessed or whatever it was, but what's actually happening right now is the eternal now, like a computer game or something. You're moving at 60 frames a second. There's the eternal running of that game, and then based upon events, things happen, and then the past is then okay, that happened in the past based on what we think. And then like some guys on the other side of the world think the past was something else because they had some different experiences or whatever it is. And it's simply based off their perception, but at the same time, there's evidence of the past, right? But I'm just saying what's happening right now at this very instant as we're speaking is the eternal now, 60 frames a second, the speed of light. I mean, speed of light's supposed to be our FPS, so what's happening in this realm. But I think that those things are interchangeable. I think that's why they say it's possible to build a time machine and move around what we call the past and future and manipulate it. But that's a whole other topic. But
Well,
yeah, I don't think there's any set time for past or future.
Well, if they tell us, and I notice they always tell us this, build a time machine, build a time machine. What if we don't need to build one? What if we have the ability to travel through time with our mind, with plants,
You do. Yeah, exactly.
Because anytime they're like, oh, well, you build it, it's like we got to remember every time that we get information from any news source or any history book, that these are the people that have been lying to us since we can remember. These are the same people that have lied to us, that have told us all of these things through schooling, that have forced us through things, that have created the zombie system. So it's very easy to fall back into, like we see it with a lot of people that get into their feelings with what they hear on the internet. And instead of thinking about it, they just respond, they react. So they're not acting of their own accord. They're reacting. And this is something that's very important. It's very important to know, am I acting on my own accord, or am I reacting to what somebody's saying or to what they want me to react to? And that's very important, to not react in that way, because that's what they want. They want a reaction. They don't want an action. They don't want a thought. They don't want a, you know what? I don't need to even know about this. When there are so many things that they try to fill up our cup with, a cup of knowledge. If the cup is full, you can't take anything else in. And this is like trying to talk to some people about certain things about politics, like we were talking earlier, about being in the pod. It's sort of like, okay, you're in the pod, just like the Matrix. The Matrix is good because it gives us that analogy. And we start to say, oh, okay, so are we, that it brings into the question, are we here right now? Are we here right now? Or are we somewhere else experiencing here right now? That's one big thing that the Matrix puts into perspective. So like we're here right now, and the Matrix is saying, we're back in the pod, right? And even when they come out of the Matrix, they figured out a way to put somebody back in. But now when they're back in the Matrix, they're on the ship plugged in until they get woken up until they get to an exit, which is in the movie a payphone. And that's another thing that needs to be taken into consideration. What does the payphone or the cell phone, like, they couldn't get out with a cell phone because they would call up when they're running. They're like, look, I need an exit. And he's like, okay, there's a phone on 83rd and 3rd and West and, whatever. And it's like they're running to try to get to this hard line, I guess, to get them out. That's the only way that they can get out, is getting to a hard line where they know there's an exit. And that's really takes some deep contemplation to say, what was that? What is that saying in real life? Having to get
That
to
pays credit. That pays credit to when I owned the BBS, because you use a hard line to call the modem to connect. And I guess in that movie, it was more of a way to. I guess the metaphor was the hard line was part of the information highway in the Matrix, to where you can manifest your body, versus the phones in the Matrix were just simply mimicking phones. So you need a conduit to demanifest you and remanifest you from one side to the other, right? So it's the hard line was like the representation of you know, a way to enter the server, or the doorway, whatever it is, the portal.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Because as we see a lot of these other things using these portals. The Skinwalker Ranch thing, and Bigelow never really came out and said anything publicly. You have to go and look at the stuff that he did with the NIDS for, I don't know, 15 years or something, a ridiculous amount of time. So this guy was already a billionaire, so he hired his whole entire science team to go live on the ranch and set up, very high tech surveillance, all these things. And the number one thing they witnessed was these portals would open up out of nowhere. These things would come out, either little miniature UFO looking things, or hairy creature like Bigfoot looking thing, or crawler looking thing, or orbs, or all these different weird things. But they would be coming from some other, you know, portal, rip in space fabric, what do you want to call it, dimension. If we know these things are happening, then what does that conclude for what we live in?
Yeah.
That means to me that we didn't just manifest here. That means we were brought in possibly through these portals from a lab or something like that, or versus just coming from a cell in a puddle, right?
Yeah. No, the cell in the puddle, the fact that you have people that I mean, more than just adhere to that theory, but they defend it. I mean, their whole life is dedicated on it. And without any type of real scientific research, and any type of scientific research that's brought forth, they twist it. They twist it back and forth.
Remember with the Bill Higgle, I would love his sarcasm. He's like, the scientists thinking they're all smart, and they're like, well, I come from a one-celled organism. But he would say it so funny, like as if like the guy's like inbred or something, like in a funny way he would say it. Like, I come from one cell, it's just, or that's even worse than the chimp theory. So it's like you're degrading yourself to a cell, and you just got lucky, and you just happen to create consciousness and this body and all this stuff based off of just pure luck. And the way he said it, the way he like turned that around on him, it just made him look like complete idiots. It just made scientists look stupid. And it's just, that's, he had some genius in him to be able to do that.
I think is really
So,
comical is when they show man's evolution. Man's evolution from Neanderthal and so forth. They show him like as a monkey, and then slowly going on all the legs and so forth, walking on two legs versus walking on four, the arms and the legs like a monkey. That's just a drawing. The evolution of man from Neanderthal to human. That's just a drawing. That's not scientific at all, and people accept it as real science. I mean, it's a joke.
yeah, again, I think all this derives from you're not that important. Just be good little slaves and do your thing, because you came from this
Mhm.
extravagant chart here that says you used to be a primitive monkey. So when you put that in their head, then they're not special, and you're not, on a much bigger quest. What do you want to call it? and you have certain abilities that were taken from you and all these other things. It is sad. So it seems like there's a mental program here to say, look, you're nothing more than just, an animal. You're nothing more than, any other animal here, and you just came from nothing.
Yeah, and if we were monkeys, why do we keep monkeys in cages? Isn't that kind of unfair? Those are our ancestors. I mean, if that were true, but it's not,
Yeah,
obviously.
they're still there hanging out.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Divine Hazel says everyone has a portal and don't realize it. That mirrors are portals, and if you're not using them, you have to cover them up. I guess that would be because, well, I mean, I've heard of the theory. I'm not sure if you want to elaborate on that theory there.
I heard about the
Yeah, I've heard of the
Cosgrove
mirror
mirrors.
thing. I've heard of that, but through the demonic thing where they'll I guess curse the mirror or something or use it as a portal or something like that. Go ahead, Mr. Ed.
No, I heard about the Cosgrove mirrors. I'm not pronouncing that right. It's a Russian who developed these mirrors that he could see into the future. It's I saw it on the Y-Files one time. They talked about that. Some speculation that even the CIA was involved in that were pretty accurate. So I don't know. The Cosgrove mirrors, you can look it up. He developed some type of mirroring system that he could see into the future.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. I remember you mentioned it before, and
Yeah.
it was saying that, well, right here it says Cosrov, but it's a brand actually.
Yeah, Russian scientists who developed the Cosgrove mirrors. These Russian scientists.
Because I did look it up before, and it came up. Cosrov mirror looks into time, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, it was spelt a little different. Curved, tubular, or spiral-shaped aluminum structures developed based on theories of Soviet astrophysicist Nikolai Kozyrev. And these devices often used in experiments in the 1990s, time and energy or torsion fields. So they're saying the reported effects, subjects in the mirror have reported visions of UFO, strange figures, scientific basis. So yeah, I guess there's a lot to look into this. Yeah. That's kind of deep.
Yeah, I was watching an episode. That's why I found out about it on the Wi-Fi. Like, I'm a fan of that channel, and no, I mean, definitely worth looking into. That's for sure. Is what
They're saying that if you look into a mirror too long, with some people, it can create illusions, like visual illusions, a phenomena linked to the Troxler effect. They say so. The Troxler effect, it says here, is an optical illusion where a fixed, unchanging image in your peripheral vision slowly fades and disappears until you disappears when you stare at a central point, demonstrating how your brain filters out irrelevant visual information and relies on eye movements for stable perception. Okay, so that's the Troxler effect, which kind of makes sense in a way when you think of the mind and the memory and stuff, how we can forget the phone numbers when we don't need to, when we have something that's saving the phone numbers.
Right.
Yeah, they're saying examples are lilac chaser. Staring at a black cross in the center causes the blue dots to fade, leaving a gray background with a moving blue-green spot. Your nose. You constantly see your nose because your brain filters. You don't constantly see it because your brain filters it out. And that is true. When you look at it, the brain filters it out as irrelevant, similar to the Troxler effect. So that's true too, because you can look and then you see your nose, and then sometimes you don't see it. So it's like it's there, and then there is a way, I guess, it's like a brain editing system when you think about it. That's kind of deep, that you can there's so much we can do that we don't know how we do it. I mean, we're not controlling certain factors.
We're definitely not using all of our mind and our brain to its maximum potential. It seems to be an agenda to hold it back for some
Yeah,
reason.
yeah. It's not yeah, we're
Which would
not
explain
using,
the zombification, why they want us to think about stupid stuff all the time.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. This yeah, the mirrors, the Kazarev or Kozyrev mirror or Kazarev, Kozyrev
Yeah,
mirrors.
I didn't pronounce it correctly either.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's actually. It might be pronounced different. It doesn't say, but the mirrors, Kozyrev mirrors, and time travel experiment. So they have that. They have videos on it. So yeah, that might be kind of deep. Um, I'll definitely check them out, man. This is yeah, I think Jake fell asleep. Yeah, we've been on. Yeah.
Well, he works hard during the day, so
Oh
I
yeah,
understand.
man. Definitely, man. It's about 1:10 over here too. So it's yeah, it's getting there. But I appreciate you hopping on, Jake, the other guy,
Always.
mine. Yeah, Scribe.
Well,
Everybody
thank
in
you for
there.
having these streams every night, MD. They're great.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's great having you on too, man. Whenever you get a chance, and just tomorrow night, yeah, I'll think of something. Well, which would be tonight, Sunday.
Yep.
Yeah, hopefully, this was how to wake up from the Matrix pod, and yeah, we'll go a little deeper into some other subjects. If anybody's got good ideas, they can always put it in the comment section of the video.
Mhm.
But yeah, I appreciate you guys coming here tonight, and we'll do it again tonight, actually, Sunday night. We'll talk soon. Take care and have a
Have a
good
good night, everyone. Thanks.